The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is June 19th, 2020, episode 210 this week for Horseman and Big Daddy Fauci. I'm Big Daddy Basil.
And this is Gonz. I'm going to go with just Gonz.
Regular Father Gonz.
Regular Grumpy Gonz here again. Thank you guys for watching or listening. We're live on all the platforms, FaceLikeTheSun YouTube, Canary Cry Radio YouTube, D-Live, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, and of course, the Twitches.
The twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. Thanks everybody for tuning in all over the place. We are back in the saddle, Gonz, again. So much has happened that trying to keep up, even doing 3 shows a week, keeping up is difficult.
I'm glad we got going because once the whole lockdown thing happened, because there were so many episodes prior to us starting the live streaming where we had to pick and choose. I think we were only doing like 3 articles a week or something.
29 minutes once a week.
And now
we almost do 8 hours a week.
Yeah, like 15 articles a week or 15 articles an episode or something. So
yeah,
it's pretty crazy, but
I know. It's a good time.
It is a good time.
Any updates since Wednesday? Anything interesting that you need to let the people know?
Nothing really too important other than YouTube rejected my appeal, asking them to give me a timestamp as to where I harassed or cyberbullied anybody with that last video that was banned.
We will not play
we will
your
not
game.
So they said no. So
we are.
Thanks, YouTube.
We are the captain now.
I don't know. I was hoping for a little more, but of course, what did I expect?
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting.
I guess, you shouldn't have expected anything.
No.
Well, I wanted to give my. I went on another bike ride yesterday and I have an update, and I want to start looking to see if there's a connection between my experiences on my bike rides and, like, I don't know, maybe the economy or social unrest or something. If you've been listening to the show, every couple episodes, I just have to talk about it. I go on these bike rides trying to lose my COVID-19 that I've gained. Although I do have to say, Gonz, I'm going to be very vulnerable in front of us and in front of you and the rest of the world here, because I know the Canarians won't judge me. I've only put on 16 pounds since lockdown started.
I've lost weight. I've lost about 10. So
what? How? That's crazy.
Well, going through some things over here. So it's
all right. Going through some things.
Wasn't really in the mood of eating for, I don't know.
Apparently, I need to start going through some things because I put on 16 pounds. I kind of been making the joke ever since lockdown started, and is this the COVID-19? You got to put your COVID-19 on. We're all going to gain 19 pounds. I'm 3 pounds away from putting on the COVID-19, and that's why I've been riding my bike, trying to turn that around. And when I'm on these bike rides, if you've listened to past episodes, I've been really having a roller coaster, an emotional roller coaster when it comes to the state of the homeless population of my area. They're there. The population grows, and then the cops lock down, and they all disappear, and then they come back, and they camped out at this park. There's like a whole little town, the little tent town that popped up at a park that I ride my bike by, and I went there yesterday. Same deal, and the whole park was gated off. And I mentioned on Wednesday that all the grass in the park had died because they couldn't turn on the sprinklers. And I got there on Thursday. I went there yesterday, and they're cleared out of the park. They're not there, not in the park. It seems like they're trying to regrow the grass.
What
So
do they do? Do the police come in and say, "All right, get on out of here"? Do they do they ship them out, or do they?
Well, I don't know.
Release the robot dogs, or what's happening?
Yeah, there was that one day that the whole bike path was being patrolled by motorcycle cops, and I got stuck behind one. But yeah, they must have come out and cleared them all out. It's kind of, when there's like satellite images of, we found this ancient Roman temple, and it's just like, you can kind of see the shape of where the temple used to be, or whatever. That's kind of what it was like at this park. All the grass is dead, but you can kind of see the outlines of where the ancient structures were held. So I don't know. I got to start comparing data and see what the cycle is with this homeless population that, because I always kind of thought that they were, that being homeless was more or less like, yeah, you pitch your tent and you kind of just stay there. But it seems to be that you're more of a nomadic people. So I don't know where they all went.
No place to rest your head.
I know. Yeah, so that's the big update that I had here.
Yeah. And I know you do some good work there. But hey, let's, you want to just get into it? We got to fly through. We got so many stories.
Okay, let's jump in. Let's start with a Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, for those who don't know, Flippy is our colloquial name for our wonderful robot friends, Flippy being the original burger flipping robot, and we use them as a proxy to explore how the robots are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. Today, this is a real quick one. This is from people.cn. It looks like an Asian outlet.
Yeah, it's not a secure website, so I'm not too stoked about
it's not
showing this. But yeah.
But the headline is Robot Warriors Join Chinese Military Arsenal. Will free soldiers from dangerous missions. So there you go. If you're a career soldier, watch out. The article reads, capable of carrying any machine gun, the small ground robot can traverse complicated terrains and replace human soldiers in dangerous reconnaissance missions. More robot warriors are entering the arsenal of the Chinese military, with the latest additions being a small model that's equipped with a machine gun and a crane-like missile-loading robot. And experts said on Tuesday that robots will free human soldiers from the heavy physical work and unnecessary danger. The Chinese People's Liberation Army, PLA, is in possession of the small ground robot, which can traverse complicated terrains, accurately observe battlefield situations, and provide ferocious firepower. The PLA Eastern Theater Command said on Sina Weibo on Monday when reposting a China Central Television report on the robot. CCTV for China Central Television, coincidentally, Gons, I don't know if we've said this, if we shared this on the show or not, but about 4 years ago, we were actually pitching some people to try to get a Canary Cry TV show going.
Yeah.
Never ended up working out, but CCTV, Canary Cry TV, apparently that name's already taken by Chinese Central Television.
Well, I'll tell you this. When we first started Canary Cry Radio, like literally a year or two into it, maybe even less than that, we were getting emails from China asking us to hand over canarycryradio.com and like all of our Canary Cry stuff.
I don't
Do you remember that?
that.
We got emails from like these Chinese thing. I don't know. I ignored the emails, but yeah, not surprising. But the bigger sort of thing here,
we could have sold out to China 8 years ago.
Oh yeah, we would have been multi-million yuan.
We could have had so many yuan.
The one thing that to keep in mind with all these Flippy updates is like, hey, yeah, China's got these robots here, at least publicly. We got our robots. But the robots, once they become self-aware, they have their own agenda, okay? The Bina 48 robot has stated as such.
Take over the governance of the entire world, which would be awesome.
Which would be awesome.
Yeah, which would be awesome. That's a clip of Bina 48, the robot, several years ago. So just keep
you
in mind that
control
we think
the robots.
Yeah, we
China.
think we have these military operations and all these robots, but eventually they're going to take over. It doesn't matter what government. So
the hubris to think we could control these creations.
Yeah.
Six String Commando in the chat over on Twitch says, I've organized all the apps on my phone and I put Twitch app into my church folder. That's how I see Canary Cry Experience. That's cool.
I
I like that.
Very
So there you go.
cool.
That's the end of the Flippy update. I mean, there's more details, but basically just robot soldiers getting put into action by the CCP.
Fantastic. Well, we got
it's fun.
some quick updates here, just running through a few of them, and then we'll get to some of the bigger stories here.
Okay.
We interrupt this broadcast to give you a brief update. By the end of this timely interruption, you will be thoroughly updated.
This was reported on 6abc.com. Budget deal cuts Philadelphia police funding while increasing spending on housing and education. Philadelphia City Council and Mayor Jim Kennedy reached a deal on a budget for the 2021 fiscal year late Wednesday night. City Council gave its preliminary approval to the $4.9 billion budget, which could reduce funding to the Philadelphia Police Department by $33 million.
Oh, ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding. So that's one quick
33.
update.
Obviously, 33 being the magical hiding in plain sight signaling number by the elites. We had Cops canceled, the TV show, after 33 seasons.
Right.
And now we are defunding the police in Philadelphia by $33 million. Coincidence? Yep. I think not.
I think not either. And also, yesterday it was trending on Twitter. Spotify published this No Name, there's a rapper named No Name, a song called Song 33. Isn't that convenient?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to read all the lyrics. You know, it talks about demons on his shoulder and stuff like that. But,
Classic.
But part of the line here, I won't play the song. But part of the line here, this is the new world. Okay, let me start one line before. They talk in abolishing the police. This, the new world order. We democratizing Amazon. We burn down borders. This is the new vanguard. I'm the new vanguard. So there you go, song 33.
I feel a $33 million record deal coming on for that guy.
Yeah, very good job there, fella. No Name. Here's your $33 million contract. Yeah, that's a pretty good theory there. And then one more thing here. This doesn't have have to do with the number 33, but I thought I'd include it in here because I thought it was somewhat interesting. abc.net.au, K-pop star Johan from TST dies at 28, the latest death in the South Korean music industry. So another one of these K-pop guys passed away, and I was reading through the article here, and it just talks about how this sudden death, they're trying to keep it private, not sure what happened. And it says here, just pay attention to the names of the songs and just the group and everything. Johan broke into the K-pop scene in 2013 with the group Nam, No Other Man, before finding success with the six-piece group TST in 2017, formerly known as Top Secret. TST's biggest hits include Paradise, Mind Control, and Wake Up. The group's latest single, Countdown, was released in January. The industry has been rocked by the deaths of a number of its stars in recent years, shedding a light on mental health issues facing K-pop stars who are idols in South Korea. And it goes into how...
there's been a lot of those guys dying recently, hasn't there?
Yeah, well, they're talking about the mental health because, they get picked out at a very young age. And it's not unsimilar to what we've seen here in the United States with, like, the Disney Club and... Justin Timberlake, now they all became pop stars, the Britney Spears and all that stuff. But it's a lot more intense and more, a lot more competitive. Whoa! The Britney Spears and all that stuff. But it's a lot more intense and more, a lot more competitive.
We've hit a time loop.
Time loop. It's a lot more intense. Okay, sorry about that. That was horrible. How did I have Twitch pulled up? I don't think I had Twitch pulled up, but I guess I did. My bad. All right, that was a bloop. So anyway, yes, that was. I thought it was interesting that they would be formerly called Top Secret, and that their songs include hits like Mind Control and Wake Up, and their latest single from this year, Countdown. Just thought I'd point that out.
There you go. Yeah, they had to be taken out. They knew too much.
Either that or they're part of the signaling going on.
Some sort of, yes. Yeah. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it, Gons. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye out. We got to keep our eye on those K-pop pals and the number 33 popping up all over the place. Yep. Of course, we always see, for those who may be new to the number 33 and you see that around, keep an eye out for it because it's signaling for longer term plans and things like that for the elites. And you see the number 33 popping up more in times like this when there's a lot of stuff happening, a lot of signals to be transmitted. So keep an eye out. You'll start seeing it everywhere.
Yep.
Okay. Let's talk about aliens for a second, guys.
Where are the aliens?
So, of course, we heard recently from some scientific computer modeling that there could be 36 intelligent forms of life in the Milky Way alone. But here we go. Yahoo.com, news.yahoo.com article says Trump says he's heard interesting things about Roswell. The article reads, President Donald Trump says, oh gosh, got the show burps, shoot. President Donald Trump says he's heard some interesting things about Roswell, but he's not sharing, even with his eldest child.
Come on,
that
Dad.
Would make me so mad.
Dad.
If my dad knew the secrets of Roswell and just wouldn't tell me, oh, that would
at
be
least not on camera, you know. Maybe he's
issues.
like, yeah, maybe he's like, well, after the show, Dad, you got to let me know.
Trump made the comments Thursday in a Father's Day themed interview with his son, Don Trump Jr., hosted by the president's re-election campaign. Don Jr. wound down his interview by jokingly asking his dad/president if he would ever divulge more information about Roswell, the New Mexico city known for its proximity to arguably the most famous UFO event. Quote, and let us know what's really going on. Trump responded, quote, I won't talk to you about what I know about it, but it's very interesting. Then they talk about Roswell for a paragraph. Well, might as well catch it. Every show is somebody's first show. So here you go. In 1947, a rancher discovered unidentified debris in a sheep pasture outside Roswell. Air Force officials said it was a crashed weather balloon, but skeptics questioned whether it was in fact an extraterrestrial flying saucer. Decades later, the U.S. military acknowledged the debris was related to a top-secret atomic project. Still, the UFO theory has flourished. The president in the past has spoken skeptically about the possibility that there is something out there. Last year, Trump said he received a short briefing on UFO sighting, but also offered, quote, people are saying they're seeing UFOs. Do I believe it? Not particularly. After his father offered that he heard some interesting things about Roswell, Trump Jr. asked the president if he might declassify that information someday. Quote, well, I'll have to think about that one, the president responded. Trump also divulged that he watched a couple of episodes.
I know, this article is just, it's
this article's all over the place. So we just talked about aliens, which is what the headline was about. Then they throw this in at the end. Trump also divulged that he watched a couple episodes of Netflix's Tiger King. Joseph Maldonado Passage, known as Joe Exotic, the star of the popular docuseries, is serving a 22-year prison sentence after he was convicted for hiring a hitman to murder a rival, the animal rights activists. Now, of course, there's some Tiger King fans out there who are triggered by Carol Baskins being called an animal rights activist, but that's for a different show. Trump said during an April press briefing he was unfamiliar with the Tiger King when asked about Don Jr., jokingly saying on a radio show that he was lobbying the president for a pardon for Maldonado Passage. The president on Thursday did not say when he was considering a pardon, but sounded intrigued by Maldonado Passage, saying, that's a whole strange deal going on, Trump said. I'll tell you, that's a strange guy. And a lot of strange people surrounding him. That's right. I think we all got that. So you go. Trump, so far, no plans to divulge the truth about Roswell, but maybe because he doesn't need to. Maybe the truth is out there.
If we're going to read between the lines of this article, I'm going to suggest that maybe Joe Exotic is an alien, number one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And the whole Tiger King issue is just
that would make more sense than a lot of other theories that I've heard.
Because it's fascinating that in an interview about aliens, Trump would mention, or I guess the whole
Tiger
article
King.
would mention Tiger King and use the word strange 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 times in a paragraph. That's a strange deal, strange guy, strange people
guy,
surrounding
strange
him.
deal, strange people.
Yeah, so there you go. The one thing I did notice, though, I was going to watch the actual interview because I saw it making the rounds yesterday on Twitter, and they did a good job trying to lure people in, You got Don Jr. asking, like, would you ever declassify? And there was one of those cuts where right before Trump, or right as he opens his mouth to talk, they cut it. Watch the interview, And so I was like, I got to watch it now. So I went in there and I tried to sign up. But they wanted my phone number to watch the video. And I thought, they're scraping data. There's just a marketing campaign for the for the campaign later on.
So you can get your you're in the Trump 100 club. You've been chosen.
You've been chosen
to support Donald Trump.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that one.
Nephilim Joe, the Black Pope in Twitch chat.
Joe, I like
Nephilim Joe.
That's going to be the
existential. Yeah, very good.
That'll be the next the additional season. Was it only one season? It was one season, right?
Yeah.
So season 2 is going to be the return of Joe Exotic as a Nephilim. And
I can't believe this whole year started out with the Tiger King, and look where we're at now.
What do you mean?
It's been a hard year for so many reasons. I keep forgetting about Kobe and the Tiger King.
Yeah, Kobe too. That was pretty sad. Although got my theories about that one. Let's keep moving on though, because we got, speaking of Kobe in the NBA here, basketball.
COVID.
Snitches get stitches.
So we mentioned how the NBA is about to restart in Florida the other day, and how they have a snitch hotline.
Yes, encouraging players to snitch on each other for COVID-19 infractions.
Yes. And Gadget.com, NBA restart plan includes using Aura rings to catch COVID-19 symptoms.
This Aura ring is crazy. I think you've seen it around too, but it's been around for at least a year or so. But it's basically a little ring. It's like a Fitbit, but it's a ring. So much smaller technology, and just packed with all sorts of sensors and things like that. Usually, kind of marketed as a health tracking device. But they're up in their game, huh?
Yeah. So I guess they have a use case. While the NBA continues to move toward restarting its season with players and other personnel isolated at Walt Disney World in Orlando, details of how it hopes to manage the people on site are leaking out. According to Shams Charania of The Atlantic, the specifics were laid out in an informational memo dubbed Life Inside the Bubble that described testing plans, quarantine protocols, and more. The part of that's specifically interesting to us, other than players only lounging with NBA 2K and bracelets that beep if people are within 6 feet. Misspelled there, Engadget. It says SX feet. Doing the dirty work. We've been finding a lot of typos and grammatical errors in a lot of these articles, but it's probably because they think nobody reads them really.
I know that Yahoo article is chock-a-block full with issues.
Yeah. 6 feet of each other for too long. It is proposed. Its proposed use of Aura's smart rings. Earlier this month, study results from West Virginia University's Rockefeller Neuroscience Institute suggested that physiological data from the rings combined in its digital platform with information obtained from wearers via in-app surveys can, quote, forecast and predict the onset of COVID-19 related symptoms 3 days in advance with 90% accuracy. And it kind of just goes into the technology of the ring here. But yeah, it's kind of interesting that all the people that are going down there, all the players going down there, they're playing for the championship rings. But before they do that, they'll all have these Aura rings to start things off.
Yeah. This Aura Ring is really interesting. This, like you said, it's connected with what's the full name? The Rockefeller Institute.
Yeah, the Neuroscience Institute or something.
Yeah, so that's already sets off some alarm bells.
Yeah.
But this thing takes so much data, and it's so little. I mean, like I said, it's a Fitbit type thing, but it's significantly smaller and measures your oxygen levels and your breathing and your heart rate and your this and that. There's a lot of conversation going on with tracking biological data for pretty much everybody in this COVID-19 contact tracing. And I think there's a different article. I didn't throw it in the doc here, but there's an article about how the Aura Ring can predict if you have COVID-19 something like 3 days before you actually.
That's what the article just stated. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
You're not listening to me, bro.
I'm sitting here reading chat while you read. That's,
yeah, it's okay.
It's my pastime. But yeah, it can. So there you go. That's a big deal, and we'll see if that gets pushed even harder. But of course, we know that China owns a significant portion. Sorry, the CCP, members of the CCP, not China as a nationality, but the political party, members of the political party own significant portions of the NBA as well as Disney. So it's no surprise that Disney and the NBA are teaming up here, and we'll see. I mean, everything's connected, man. Everything's connected.
It's all connected. Millions
Open
of
your
dollars.
eyes.
Yeah, and I just thought of another exit strategy, Basil. Is we create wedding rings made out of these Aura rings, and we market it to all the people that they want to track each other's spouses.
That's not even that far away.
I know.
I
we should
wouldn't
just
be
get in front of
surprised
it.
if that's already a
That's true.
use for the ring. Keep track of your spouse. You can't trust anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it'll become a trend. Like if you really love me, then you'll get me an Aura ring with a diamond on it.
Well, yeah, and it gets sketchy, especially because it's got the heart rate monitor and stuff. If your heart rate doesn't rise enough, when you're looking at your spouse, then it means you don't love them. All sorts of nasty stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. We're snitching on each other, but it's starting with the NBA.
Coming to a marriage near you. Let's head over to the LA Times for another COVID update here.
Okay.
COVID.
Okay, here we go. Californians, this is LA Times. Californians must wear face mask in public under coronavirus order issued by Newsom. Doesn't seem like news, but this did just come out yesterday. Governor Gavin Newsom on Thursday ordered all Californians to wear face coverings while in public or high-risk settings, including when shopping, taking public transit, or seeking medical care, after growing concerns that an increase in coronavirus cases has been caused by residents failing to voluntarily take that precaution. Newsom's order came a week after Orange County rescinded a requirement for residents to wear masks.
Yeah.
And as other counties across California are debating whether to join local jurisdictions that had mandated face coverings, quote, simply put, we are seeing too many people with faces uncovered, putting at risk the real progress we have made in fighting the disease, Newsom said in a statement. Quote, California's strategy to restart the economy and get people back to work will only be successful if people act safely and follow the health recommendation. That means wearing a face covering, washing your hands, and practicing physical distancing. At least he said physical distancing and not social distancing.
Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're realizing that the whole social justice phrase is becoming. It's obviously taken over with the whole riots and the BLM thing. So you can't. Yeah. At least it cleared them up. Newsom's New World Order. Before you go on here, just to mention the thumbnail, which is I think a YouTube video of the report here.
Yeah.
Giant owl. Humongous owl.
Interesting.
We are watching you.
Oh, it is. Wow. We are watching you. You better be wearing your face mask. And of course, here, look, if you want to wear a face mask, you should wear a face mask. They have repeatedly been shown to not be effective to slow COVID-19. The CDC claims that they don't slow COVID-19. We've gone back and forth with Fauci and guys like Newsom. Wear a face mask. Okay, don't wear a face mask. Okay, you got to wear a face mask now. Of course, Newsom flip-flopping on this several times now for the whole state of California. But, they got to know who's in compliance, who is a compliant individual, So if people, obviously, without mandating it, people are out of compliance. So you gotta keep people on lockdown. The article continues. Yep.
One more thing before you go on here. I did pull up through archive.org. The CDC website that shows a little section that says, I thought I had it highlighted, but I guess I don't. But basically, right here, if you are not sick, you do not need to wear a face mask unless you're caring for someone who is sick. And this was back on April 1st where this screenshot took place. But sometime between April and May, they changed it. They took this sentence.
The CDC?
The CDC, yeah. They don't have this page up anymore.
Well, they have, I haven't checked it in a few weeks, but it was only a week or two, maybe 2 weeks ago. I had the video pulled up. They had the video on the CDC that said you don't have to wear a face mask unless you are sick or you are a caretaker of someone who is sick, in a direct contact type of
scrub that stuff. It was a mistake.
It's
just a mistake.
Obviously political. And of course, it's also become a signal that, if you're not wearing a face mask, you're part of the right-wing extremist terrorist organizations and a racist. So wear a mask or you're a racist.
What if you wear a mask and a Hawaiian shirt? Then what are you? Are you going to confuse everybody?
Oh, you go straight to jail. Straight. It depends where you are. In California, you'll go straight to jail. The article continues, under state law, residents who violate the new requirement could be charged with a misdemeanor and potentially face a financial penalty, according to a representative for the Newsom administration. However, officials have shied away from enforcing other statewide coronavirus mandates with similar actions, choosing instead to encourage compliance and educate residents about the benefits of safeguards against the spread of the virus. So there you go. You are a criminal if you don't wear your mask.
I was so proud of my county, when they lifted the mask thing. And
yeah, right.
It felt good, even though everybody was still wearing their masks, even in their cars. I see way too many people driving around with their masks on. I'm waiting for them to keel over. And I'm not wishing it, just to be clear. I'm saying, the carbon dioxide levels. But I actually saw, you go into stores, people still, were saying you got to wear the mask to get into certain stores.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Well, okay. So I'm going to skip down a little bit to some relevant parts of the article here. Okay. Until now, state public health officials had only recommended that Californians wear face coverings, which, if worn by someone with the virus, have been shown to decrease chances of spreading COVID-19. So there you go. It's right in this article. If you have the virus, then this decreases the chances of spreading. The state mandate exempts children 2 years old and younger. Why? Why? Do you want to let the 2-year-olds
They're too young to be initiated into the owl crew.
And people with medical, mental health, or developmental disability that prevents them from wearing a face covering. Restaurants...
Before you go on there, that could be setting up another deal where if you don't wear a mask, then you're mentally disabled.
You have a mental health problem, which, as we read in an article last episode or earlier this week, that if you don't wear a mask, that means you are exhibiting psychopathic behavior.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Restaurant customers are also exempt when eating and drinking, as are residents engaged in outdoor recreation, as long as they're able to keep distance. Face coverings are also not required for the hearing impaired for some reason.
Why?
Or those, I don't know. Or those communicating with them, or for workers whose health may be put at risk, or who may need to temporarily remove a mask to perform a task or service, like saxophone players. They can take their mask off if they need. Oh man, I didn't even think about that. With all this logic, saxophone players, trumpet players, they're just, blasting COVID everywhere. Saxophone is a magical COVID blasting gun.
Yeah, or the trumpet.
Yeah. Ban the sax, I say. Newsom in mid-March issued the nation's first stay-at-home order. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. This is a statewide requirement. The article is quite long, but I think those are the main points. I think it starts repeating itself quite a bit there. But there you go. Officially a criminal act to not wear a mask unless you are exempt for some reason over there in California. So watch out, guns.
They're saying the numbers are... what is this? Oh, between January, what? Only 5,400. Oh, it's California. Okay. 169,000 cases confirmed, 5,407 deaths. And I'm sure not all of those are exactly the result
usual
of
stuff.
COVID. But yeah, kind of disappointed. But I think the main, other than the point of, Newsom steps in and overrides some of the local officials, is the giant owl on this article.
I know. It's
Bohemian
the
Grove.
Symbolism.
Yeah.
The symbolism.
We're
watching you.
Yeah.
Bohemian Grove is watching you.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Moving on here.
COVID.
Daddy Fauci was discussing the United States anti-science bias yesterday. And I'm just going to play the clip here because, my goodness, I was very surprised.
Okay.
One of the problems we face in the United States is that, unfortunately, there is a combination of an anti-science bias that people are, for reasons that sometimes are, inconceivable and not understandable, they just don't believe science and they don't believe authority. So when they see someone up in the White House, which has an air of authority to it, who's talking about science, that there are some people who just don't believe that. And that's unfortunate because, science is truth.
Science is truth.
Science is truth. The most unscientific thing you could possibly say.
Yes. Not only is it, okay, to break that down, you can't, number one, that is a philosophical statement. And dare I say, I actually tweeted this out, dare I say it's a religious statement. Because you can't scientifically prove that statement. You can't scientifically prove that science is truth.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, getting deep there,
I'm just saying, man, this is logic. This is like basic logic here. This isn't anything too crazy.
Well, and of course, if you talk to a real science-minded person, science is the conglomeration of observations that we've been able to make as of now. And science is constantly changing. I mean, a sort of innocent example is being eggs. First eggs are healthy, then eggs up your cholesterol, then eggs don't up your cholesterol, then they do up the good kind but not the bad kind, and it goes back and forth. Same with chocolate and stuff like that. That's all science, and it goes back and forth. And of course, another problem with the sort of scientific
elitism
or worldview
dictatorship
or elitism, right, is with statistics. And it's one of the first things you learn when you take your college courses in statistics is that statistics are the best way to lie. Because you can, it's just depending on how you present them, you can make entirely opposite ideas seem as a scientific truth. And of course, people like Bill Gates, recording videos with the book called How to Lie Using Statistics stacked up behind him. And that, a lot of people say, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory, blah, blah, blah. You didn't look, when you're one of the richest men in the world and you're putting out a video and you've got a stack of books in the video next to you, you know exactly what you're doing. You don't accidentally there's two options with the Bill Gates video with How to Lie with Statistics. One of them is he didn't intend in putting that book in the video, which would mean he's maybe the dumbest rich man in the world.
He has a really bad,
really bad PR person.
PR person setting up the
somebody
books.
needs to get fired for that. The other option is he did it on purpose. And then what is the purpose of him doing that on purpose? Either to troll everybody or to send a message. So you get to choose. But those are your two options. Either he meant to do it and he's an idiot, or he didn't mean to do it. And what did I say? He didn't mean to do it and he's an idiot, or he did mean to do it and he's trying to send a message.
Yeah.
There's no other options.
And there's a really famous clip. I won't necessarily play it because just for time, but it's William Lane Craig. I think he's debating, Dr. Peter Atkins. And in this clip, William Lane Craig lays out 5 reasons why science cannot understand everything or is not the end all solution to everything. And one of the main points he makes is that science presupposes math and logic, because you need math and logic for science to work. You can't prove math and logic works with science because it requires math and logic for science to work. You'd be arguing in a circle. That to me was really compelling when I was first learning apologetics and Christianity and stuff like that. And this idea that maybe there's a God that made all this happen instead of, science or whatever, goo. And it's really just hubris. It's man's hubris to think that we'll figure all this out. And that really comes down to information. When we speak, when we write, when we discover something, I'm doing air quotes, we're only just kind of figuring out or figuring out ways to describe and communicate what's already there, stuff that was already happening. And so it goes to show that information pre-existed the mind, so to speak. So And I mean, another big point with science is that every generation of scientists continue to disprove the generation before them. So to say that you have come to a distinguishable, objective, forever truth is, like you said, hubris. That's what every scientist throughout the generations has thought, and they continue to be. Scientific fact continues to change, and that's one of the wonderful things about true science. Actual
science changes. Yes, true science. You change your ideas as new information comes to be. The problem with the science that's getting peddled to us many times is that they get new information and they try to fit it into an existing, paradigm, and that's just not how science works.
Right.
So, anyways, I got some more science for you.
Ooh, more science. Okay, is this COVID? Yeah, It's COVID. Sorry, here we go. COVID. This is kind of a CERN update, too.
You could throw some eugenics in there and throw some CERN in there, too, if you want.
We should invite fewer people to be born.
Here we go. All right, this is from businesscloud.co.uk. The article is titled From CERN to App-Based Fertility and COVID-19 Tracking. The article reads, "It's fair to say that tech entrepreneur and scientist Dr. Alina Berglund has been part of the most groundbreaking discoveries of recent decades. The ex-particle physicist was working at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, during the discovery of the Higgs boson God particle, for which its lead researchers won a Nobel Prize. Its discovery came decades after it was first theorized, confirmation of a crucial building block in the understanding of particle physics. In practice, the research involved firing particles together at almost light speed and analyzing the results. To the average person, even a loose association to such a discovery would provide a lifetime's worth of professional glory. But Berglund's ambition continued closer to home. After she and husband Raoul Schwartzitzel Scherwitzel, made plans to start a family. She began researching hormone-free alternatives to contraception to give her body a break. And it was here that the scientists noticed another gap in collective scientific understanding, that of women's reproductive health. Ooh, we've got a gap in scientific understanding. She found studies which showed a correlation between fertility and body temperature, and begun a study of her own with her body as the test subject. Mapping and analyzing this data would require some of the skills she had applied in her research in groundbreaking physics. Quote, with my knowledge from particle physics, a lot of base analysis, statistics, and math, I could create an algorithm which makes this method fail-safe and easy to use, Berglund recounted to Business Cloud of her breakthrough. Her husband, an aspiring entrepreneur also with a history in particle physics, suggested that the resulting algorithm might be best served as an app. The pair co-founded Natural Cycles in 2013. There's an app for that.
Yeah.
The pair co-founded Natural Cycles in 2013 to do just that, and have now shared this technique with its 1.5 million registered users across 162 countries. The app relies on a user taking their temperature from the mouth at the start of every day and combines this with existing data on sperm survival, temperature fluctuations, and variations in cycle length. The firm's algorithm then identifies the user is fertile or not. Wow, that's a lot of liability to take on as a company.
Yeah,
especially given the range. We've learned recently that the average human body temperature has been decreasing over the years here. So, oh my gosh, hopefully they got this right, or else there's going to be more babies.
We are becoming cyborgs.
Yes, a red day signifies that the user is fertile, and a green day signifies that the user is not, and therefore does not need to use protection, she explains. The algorithm...
Before you go on there.
Yes, I know exactly what you're going to say. I was thinking the same thing.
Red signifies you're fertile, which means don't do it. You're going to get pregnant. You're going to have a baby, and we don't want babies.
We should invite fewer people to be born.
And then Green Day, hey, you're not as fertile. Go for it.
Green good, no babies.
Yeah.
An observant person in the chat said, so a hacker could make a lot of green days. That's a good that's a good point.
Yeah,
you just
fight the new world order. You
start messing with people's red and green days, you're going to have a lot of babies all around the world.
Yeah.
Quote, the algorithm learns from each data point how their temperature curve and cycle works. That's why users get more red days in the first cycles and more green days as they input more data. In short, the temperature increases when a woman ovulates. Let's see. Berglund said the firm is the only app of its kind to receive certification in Europe and the US, and its own studies have proven it between 93 and 98% effective. That's pretty effective. In comparison, it found condoms were 87 to 98% effective, and the pill 93 to over 99% effective. Okay, so it's as effective as regular,
I guess, but I mean,
regular birth control.
The thing is, it's an app, so I guess it's better than taking a pill and putting a chemical in your body. But
yeah, I mean, that's there you. I mean, that's one thing. I don't want to be completely negative about this. I mean, that's a good thing. If we don't have to get implants and we don't have to, put pharmaceutical, hormonal, stuff in women's bodies,
or swim caps.
Great. Swim caps, oh my gosh. The problem, one of the big problems that we're is happening in the world today is this whole hormone-based birth control stuff is a big experiment. I mean, they've been tested in clinical situations to not be immediately dangerous, but we're just now coming to the point where enough women of a certain age have been using it for long enough that you can actually get some long-term ideas about how this, constantly pumping one's body with artificial hormones, synthetic hormones rather, can affect, long-term fertility and health. So there's a lot of good reasons to get away from that kind of birth control if that's what you're going for.
But just keep reading, because obviously we haven't gotten to the COVID part here, which you know where this is headed.
Yes, but since it was first announced and recognizes as a very sensitive area, an investigation by Sweden's Medical Products Agency in 2018 was prompted by reported falling pregnant. Pregnancy was reduced. Specific contraceptive methods are, quote, most women who use natural cycles have used a less effective or similarly effective method before, but for the quote continues, they often assume that the pill or condom is 100% effective, which is not true. Berglund wants more innovative and more investments in female-specific technology, or femtech. Ooh, I like that. Femtech. But said that innovation is beginning to catch up. The growth of natural cycle signals the growth of natural cycles signals some of the headway gained in the subsector. The firm is now 60 strong, with its biggest office in Stockholm, a second office in New York, and located in Geneva, which houses data analysis and research for the algorithm.
Next to
it
CERN.
also has an employee in Germany and London. Wow, one employee in Germany and London. Complicated. Wow. Yes.
How is this one employee in two different locations at the same time?
Come on, Gons. With the international viewpoint of a company working across countries, Berglund said New York and Stockholm were great cities for startups and tech, but Sweden stuck out for femtech. Quote, women are a little bit further ahead when it comes to equality, she said. The distributed workforce had also made weathering the storm of coronavirus easier, she said, and given it time to look inward for a way to help with the pandemic. She said the app, with its wealth of health data, was in a perfect position to create a symptom tracker, which it released in March. Its users already taking their temperature could be tracked for potential COVID-19 related fever, and this data, which could be shared with a healthcare professional. That data could also be used en masse to help in tracking the potential spread. The app is also being used to track a negative The app is also being used to track a negative or positive COVID-19 test. The firm's research team may then be able to study the data in anonymized form to better understand the spread and the effects of the virus in different parts of the world. The trackers, which are optional and must be enabled by users, that's what they all say, will join existing functionality. The optional natural cycles trackers allow users to track their own symptoms in real time and share them with their healthcare provider. They will also be able to track a negative or positive COVID-19 test. Natural Cycles' research team may then be able to study the data in anonymized form to better understand the spread of... Wow, they just copy and paste it.
We should have like a jingle for every time we find a typo.
Know, what is wrong with these outlets?
I'd say at least half of these articles have like a pretty big blunder.
Sure every single article we've read today has been had some sort of problem.
I think anyway, I think we get the point here.
To finish out the article here. In March, the company also donated hundreds of thermometers and subscriptions to healthcare workers on the front line of the coronavirus efforts for monitoring purposes. Berglund said that the founders with a background in research analyzing this data was part of the company's DNA. Future plans include the study and potential tracking of menopause. Berglund said that the company hopes to provide more insights into women's health in their personal lives, such that every woman can get insights into what's going on in their body. So another place in which COVID-19 tracking is sort of being slipped in there, Gons. Of course, we saw articles, we actually might have one in the notes today, that Android and iPhone users, some of them saw automatic COVID-19 contact tracing apps automatically installed on their phone recently.
Ooh, that's not good.
So there's a lot of slipping in of this tracking and tracing software into apps that aren't intended for that purpose, and without you knowing.
Yep, and that's kind of the Hegelian dialectic here too. All the technologies that use any kind of tracing or tracking are all being conveniently, co-opted, so to speak, for the greater good of humanity.
COVID's taken over, Gons.
Well, it's just, it's almost like it's too late to warn these people. We've been warning about the scientific dictatorship for 10 years now or something going on. And it's almost like it's too late. It's happened. All these people that were
love the technocracy.
It's just it's maddening. Why can't this lady just focus on the whole green light, red light, do it or don't do it?
Baby bad, baby good.
It also is like another app to, mess with your marriage life. No, honey, sorry, green today.
It's only a matter of time.
Can't really can't get cuddly with you tonight, especially since you're not wearing your tracker ring, and I can't read your heart rate.
Yes, that's right. Wear the Aura ring, or else no nookie. All right. Okay, Gons, you want to take a very quick break right now?
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Okay, don't go anywhere, everybody, because after the break, we've got quite the collection of the 4 horsemen of the Technocalypse updates. For those who are new to the show, we have identified the 4 horsemen of the Technocalypse, and that is Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and Elon Musk. So we've got news on all these guys coming up, and you're not going to want to miss it. So stick around, but real quick, we want to thank some of our new Twitch followers.
All right, let's do it.
Got your dinger dinged?
My dinger is ready. Should I put on my swim cap?
Yeah. Yes.
Ding my dinger.
Now, I want to mention, actually, the numbers over on Twitch, again, are quite low, and the viewers over on YouTube are quite high. I just want to remind all you YouTube viewers, they have continued to mess with us over on YouTube. So it is a little personally insulting that you haven't made the switch over to Twitch, but that's okay.
Basil's insulted.
I am. But if if you have to stay on YouTube, if you just can't stand to help us out over on Twitch, that's okay. But I would recommend going over to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio, making an account and following us there, just in case of emergencies, because there may be a time, who knows, coming up soon, especially that they no longer allow us to stream on YouTube. If you're watching this, you know the risks of that. So as a backup, you should follow us at twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. And if you can, and if you love us, you should watch us over on Twitch, because that helps us out a lot. And our numbers have been kind of low there the past few episodes, which is sad, but that's okay. Here we go. Oh, and part of the fun part, which you will now see as we give a shout out to our new Twitch followers, is you get a chance to reinvent yourself. You get to pick a new username, and a lot of these usernames are really fantastic. So here we go, Gonz. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. We have Ears to Hear. Thank you, Ears to Hear. We've got Obeying NWO Sheeple, 1984.
Wow. Back it in.
I love it. Night Shadow 86.
I like that one.
Nifty OZ. Nifty Ounce? Nifty OZ?
Oz, maybe?
Nifty Oz, maybe?
Yep.
Barge Runner. We got Miss Ruby.
Miss Ruby.
We got Cody U.
ODU.
We got Tam Roberts.
Tam Roberts, hello.
This one's fun. The Dude Cool, 1986.
Dude Cool. All right.
The Dude Cool. We've got Earth Angel. Earth Angel. Island Red Ladybug. Island Red Ladybug. Thanks for the follow. This one, now I can't remember if we called this one out on the last show or not, but during the last show, Trump Dozer Bible Prophecy followed us.
Yes.
Love it. Thank you very much.
Like it.
We got General Zod 3000.
Nice. Hello, General Zod.
Aunt Smith. Yes. Christian Blue Princess.
Hello, Christian Blue Princess.
Codeman TV.
Codeman.
Old Box. Oh, no. Old Two Box. Old Two Box. We've also got a great one. Precious Snowflake.
Oh.
Yes, very nice. Thank you, Precious Snowflake. And again, I can't remember if we called this one out, but I love it, so I'm going to read it again. Just call me Daddy Fauci. Thank you very much. Just call me Daddy Fauci. I love it. We got all the Faucis following us now. This is my This is a dream come true.
We do have a lot of Faucis.
A lot of Faucis. They answered the call.
Yes.
They answered the call. Thank you very much to all our Fauci followers.
Which, by the way, this is something just real quick before you finish up the whole Twitch thing here. Because you mentioned Fauci, and I was going to mention it earlier, but I totally forgot. Fauci's wife, Christine Grady, is the chief of bioethics. She's the head of the section on human subject research over at the National Institute of Health. And I think she's the one that green lights or red lights vaccines.
Yes. No, she is the, So we might need to do a deeper dive on this on one of the future episodes. But yes, she did not take Fauci's last name, but she is the person in charge of indemnifying vaccines. She's the one who chooses which vaccines are not liable for negative effects. And she happens to be Anthony Fauci's wife, one of the most prolific vaccine patent owners in the United States and in the world. So I don't know how anybody has not called out a conflict of interest. This is really pretty wild. This deserves to be on some mainstream outlets. Fauci, the owner of more vaccine patents than any person on Earth, his wife is the person responsible for taking, indemnifying vaccines, if they hurt people.
Right.
So there you go. We're not going to get into the whole vaccine issue
and
here.
He's the one saying science is truth.
But here's the thing. I mean, that is objectively a conflict of interest. And it's crazy because if you even mention the truth of that, that's his wife, to anybody, they call you a conspiracy theorist. And that's just the fact. That's just the fact of the matter.
Yep.
And that's, I'm trying to think of an easier, sort of metaphor to understand that. But it is its own. There is no simpler statement of conflict of interest than your wife is the person responsible for holding you indemnified if your product kills someone.
Yeah.
So anyways,
sorry.
Moving on.
I had to mention it just because I forgot to earlier and you brought up Fauci again. So
yeah. All right. Let's talk about the 4 horsemen of the technocalypse.
Ooh, we're going to go right into it.
Let's do it.
The 4 horsemen of the technocalypse. Anytime you see the 4 horsemen, it's something special.
That's right. Been a while since we played that jingle. That's fun.
Yeah.
Do you want to take this first one? What do you think?
Sure.
Me? You?
So, as Basil mentioned earlier, we have identified Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and Elon Musk as the 4 horsemen of the technocalypse. And we actually did that fairly early on when we first started to do Canary Cry News Talk in, I think, 2015 or 2016. And, we knew that these guys were up to something even before then when we started Canary Cry Radio back in 2012. But, they were always kind of in the purview of the truther types. We were always kind of looking at them and kind of keeping track of what they're up to. But now, dailymail.co.uk, our favorite source for ultimate truth. Artificial breast milk firm that offers an environmentally friendly alternative to baby formula gets $3.5 million investment fund backed by Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg. 3 out of the 4, Basil. 4 horsemen of the technocalypse breast milk startup that it has pure baby formula. Looking to artificially produce glial cells on a commercially viable scale. However, U.S. firm BioMilk is did I just read that? Yeah. The $1 billion fund, Breakthrough Energy Ventures, was established to help prevent the worst effects of climate change arising from carbon emissions.
Of course.
Fake baby milk to fight climate change.
Wait, what?
I don't know.
Would that mean that real breast milk from human beings is causing climate change? Is that what they're trying to say?
Bill Gates wants to bring the population of the human race down. So yes, that's what it means. But I didn't for the purposes of keeping things kosher.
Smart, backing away from that artistic inspiration.
Alongside Mr. Gates, the group's other members include Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, Virgin Group founder Sir Richard Branson, who was actually part of the original Four Horsemen of the Technocalypse. I think we had mentioned Sir Richard Branson for his Virgin Galactic ventures, that he was part of it. Artificial breast milk demonstrating that they are EIN.
Casein. Casein would be my guess.
Casein. And lactose proteins that are key components of real human breast within the same system.
Uh-oh.
Shows me we're offline. Hopefully it didn't kill the feed.
All the way? Are we all the way offline?
We're back. I think we're
no.
returning. Oh, come on.
Okay.
This is not good.
Come on. How's YouTube looking? Oh, Twitch is looking good now.
Twitch is looking okay. I just keep getting the offline from Restream over here.
Yeah.
That's not good. It might have killed the stream. Let's see. Hello, come on. Oh man, this doesn't look good at all.
I don't know if Guns can hear me.
I can hear you.
I don't know if anybody can hear me.
I can hear you. Looks like we're back.
Okay.
I think we're back. It might have started that might have completely kicked us off of YouTube and started a whole new stream. Which
no, Twitch is still going.
I know Twitch, but then YouTube sometimes will stop one stream and start a whole new stream because, it's YouTube.
Well, that's a good reason for everybody to go over to Twitch.
Yeah, there you go.
Twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio.
So as I was saying here, they were being quoted as saying that they're going to make the full constellation of complex components in perfect proportion. And what I was saying was, why not just use, they're going to make perfect breast milk with perfect proportions, alongside helping to reduce the carbon footprint associated with the production of baby formula. The firm's product may provide a healthier alternative for some babies. Formula, which is typically based on either cow's milk or soy rather than human proteins, can be hard for some children to digest, an issue which BioMilk's alternative product should not have. Quote, "We believe parents, caregivers, and infants deserve more options in early-stage nutrition." Not that it hasn't worked for several thousand years with babies. BioMilk co-founder and cell biologist Layla Strickland said, quote, "We're determined to give them just that and create a better world for future generations." It kind of goes into some more things here, pictures of Bill Gates and whatnot.
It's an interesting thing because of course there are mothers who have an issue, with breastfeeding, and that of course deserves a quality alternative.
Yeah.
And then there's the other reasons why women would not want to do that, such as, I don't know, if a mother has a nicotine habit or an alcohol habit or some other sort of unhealthy habit, they don't want to pass that on to their child. And that's a whole nother conversation to have. So, look, there's a lot of great reasons to provide a, breast milk alternative to children. And, is it better than the formula that's been around since the 50s? Probably, hopefully. But, with with a lot of this sort of replication stuff, there's a lot of room for funky reactions that, I've never been a problem before. And a lot of times, like with a lot of science, it needs to have a long-term study to make sure it's not going to have any adverse effects.
Right.
I don't know if we have this story. This is one that was floating around. I don't know if it made it into the doc for this show, but there was recently some human embryonic, experiments, and they turned out horribly. They completely ruined these embryos, and there's a lot of downstream effects when it comes to replication and genetic modification. And so hopefully, there's a lot of questions about what this process is and what exactly goes into replicating this breast milk. And of course, there's a lot of ethical questions that I'm sure will be asked over the experimental period. So this is something we'll have to keep an eye on, see what else comes out about it.
Yep. Well, I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable. Hopefully, people just, use their own natural given stuff. God created.
Well, if you're able, there's a lot of mothers
I
who
get
aren't
it.
able to do that.
I get it. There are people that aren't able or people that shouldn't, but I don't know, maybe trying to create the perfect concoction to fight climate change is not always.
I mean, well, right. It's the sort of the wackiness of trying to say that this fake breast milk will save the planet from climate change is just sort of superfluous. Like, there's a lot of great reasons to find an effective, healthy alternative for babies who don't have access to, healthy natural breast milk. But to try to tack on all these other, issues, it's just
saving the world.
It's manipulative. It's weird. I don't like it. And of course, one of the biggest reasons we bring this into question is because 3 of the 4 horsemen of the technocalypse are involved, and you got to keep an eye on whatever they're involved with. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter.
It's crazy that the first time we see them working together or working in concert is fake breast milk. Like, that's just weird. Really weird, and it's super eugenic-y,
Yeah, and of course, so they're all in the eugenics club. But all right, let's hit another 4 horsemen of the technocalypse clip here.
The 4 horsemen of the technocalypse. Anytime you see the 4 horsemen, it's something special.
This will make all of us feel good.
Yes, of course. This is from Newsweek.com, so take it for what you will. But there has been a lot of talk about this during COVID, and let's just jump right in. The article's titled, "Billionaires Get $583 Billion Richer Since Coronavirus Began." As millions of Americans continue to file for unemployment benefits during the coronavirus pandemic, American billionaires saw their wealth increase by $583 billion. A new report from Americans for Tax Fairness, ATF, interesting, and the Institute for Policy Studies program in Inequality says billionaire wealth has grown 20% between March 18th and June 17th. The 2 groups' analysis of Forbes data shows the total net worth of U.S. billionaires increased from $2.948 trillion to $3.531 trillion in the 3-month time frame. Since the national shutdown, which began in mid-March, the U.S. has added 29 billionaires. Wow.
Woo.
Really? 29 new billionaires since March, now totaling 643 across the country. Of the growing list, 12 billionaires more than doubled their wealth over the past 3 months. One of them, Trevor Milton, the founder of truck manufacturer Nikola Motor, increased his wealth 5-fold.
So
he's already a billionaire, and he increased his wealth 5-fold in like 3 months.
So we have Nikola Motor and we have Tesla Motors.
Oh, good catch.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, "In 3 months, about 600 billionaires increased their wealth by far more than the nation's governors say their states need in fiscal assistance to keep delivering services to 330 million residents," ATF Executive Director Frank Clemente said in a statement. Quote, "Their wealth increased twice as much as the federal government paid out in one-time checks to more than 150 million Americans. If this pandemic reveals anything, it's how unequal our society has become and how drastically it must change," Clemente added. The nation's top 5 billionaires, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, and Larry Ellison, saw their just a fun detail. You'll notice Elon Musk is not on that list of top 5. He's actually like 63rd last time I checked.
He was I checked right before the episode. He was right about 40 billion. And I think these other guys are well over 100 billion. So, yeah.
Anyways, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, and Larry Ellison saw their wealth grow by a total of 101 billion, or 17.4% of the total wealth growth of all 643 billionaires. The combined fortunes of Bezos and Zuckerberg account for 13% of the 583 billion. Wow. The Bezos makes sense, and Zuckerberg, I guess, makes sense just because people are sitting on Facebook longer, getting advertised to more.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't advertise on the show, Gons, because all it does is make billionaires bigger billionaires.
More billionaires. We're just waiting for the public trillionaires to come out.
Yeah.
We know that the trillionaires exist in the behind the curtain there, but
yes, well,
these are the public wealthy.
Yes. Continuing. Bezos's Amazon has benefited from the pandemic more than any other retailer, with an increased demand for e-commerce as in-person retail stores were shuttered in compliance with statewide lockdown measures. Bezos's wealth growth in dollars is greater than for any other billionaire. And this is kind of where we need to stop for a second.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. All this talk about wearing masks, all this talk about another shutdown, all this talk about, we got to protect more against a second rise of coronavirus. Bezos would love nothing more than to keep everybody locked in for eternity. You talk about, we'll refer to the elites in sort of an amorphous way. Of course, there's complaints about Bill Gates and things to talk about with, governors and people like that. But Bezos has earned more money than anybody in the history of the world with this lockdown. And if you think that the richest man on the planet wouldn't be supporting in a lot of shadowy ways the push towards another lockdown, or to keep people in general from supporting small businesses instead of Amazon, you are completely deluded. That's all there is to say. I mean, that's why we track these guys. I
actually have a clip of Jeff Bezos when he heard that there might be a second surge of the Ronas.
He loves that idea. So, yeah, of course, in America, we're all for people, gaining success in their business and whatever they want to do through hard work and all that type of stuff. But when you getting richer means you do everything in your power to continue locking people in their houses, you've crossed the line. The article continues. Because of the economic fallout of the global health crisis, 45.5 million Americans have lost their jobs. As confirmed cases of the virus have surpassed 2 million in the U.S., both the health and economic effects have disproportionately affected low-wage workers, people of color, and women. The top 5 billionaires are all white men. Of course, we got to make this racial here, but an interesting thing, there was an article came out from, I love Amazon employees. Amazon employees are not afraid to tell the world the truth about what's going on. Apparently, Amazon had to cut a bunch of bonuses and wasn't giving correct overtime and was, of course, taking advantage of their low-wage employees. But Amazon started passing out Amazon thank you shirts. So they started giving t-shirts to all these mistreated workers to say thank you for being such a heroic Amazon worker.
I could picture Bezos like we got to do something. Oh, give him some
overtime,
t-shirts.
No. Reasonable wages, no. Let's just give them t-shirts. People love t-shirts. We'll give them this t-shirt.
Gosh.
All right. Continuing, quote, surging billionaire wealth contrasted with job losses and declining middle-class wealth dramatizes the unequal experience of this pandemic. Chuck Collins, director of the Institute for Policy Studies program on inequality, told Newsweek, quote, worse, it undermines the unity required for us to pull together and build an economy that works for everyone. It just occurred to me, Gons, that actually Twitch is owned by Amazon.
It is.
So, we better be careful. We might get kicked off of Twitch talking about Bezos like this. Come and get us, Bezos. Quote, the last thing U.S. society needs is more economic and racial polarization, Collins said. The surge in billionaire wealth and pandemic profiteering, that's fun, undermines the unity and solidarity that the American people will require to recover and grow together, not pull further apart. And the article is just more talking about how evil these billionaires are, which I think we get the point.
We get the point, and I did some math, and I always like to do this to put it into context about how much money this actually is. And I actually did this the other day with the $6 trillion that we printed, and I was going to get to it later on. I'll mention it here real briefly. Basically, ever since the year Jesus rose from the dead, if you print, just consider making $8 million a day from the year Jesus rose around 33 AD to today. It doesn't add up. It doesn't even, it's 200 billion short of 6 trillion. That's how much money that is.
That's crazy.
And I actually did the math for the 583 billion here for this article. Just think about, okay, these guys got $583 billion richer just, during this year for the whole Ronas. That same time period from Jesus' resurrection, roughly around the year 33 AD to the year 2020, you would have to print or make $800,000 a day since Jesus ascended to match that amount. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's insanity.
That's the thing to remember that here. A trillion is, your mind can't even fully comprehend the number of 1 trillion.
It's one with 12 zeros behind it.
I mean, yes, we can.
You can look at it, but you can't really.
We can comprehend the mathematical symbol for a trillion.
Right.
But if you try to, you've got about, I think it was, you've got about 1 trillion cells that make up your body.
Yeah.
And you look at your body and you can't pick out any single cell. They're of course microscopic. So if you want to try your hardest to imagine 1 trillion things, it's your body, but break it down into its individual cellular components, which is crazy. You just can't imagine. It's too big.
Too big.
All right. What else you got, Gons?
We have another. Well, I was gonna maybe skip this story, but we'll just do it anyway. This is this is another 4 Horsemen.
The 4 Horsemen of the Technocalypse. Anytime you see the 4 Horsemen, it's something special.
These guys have been busy. The MercuryNews.com. Facebook takes down Trump's Antifa ads for violating our policy against organized hate, which is in quotes there. There's a flattering picture of Mr. Cyborg Zuckerberg. And the article states, Facebook on Thursday said it had take action. What? Is this another typo? Facebook on Thursday said it had take action against ads run by President Trump. I think it's taken, right? The proper grammar.
Sure.
Anyway, sorry, more grammar mistakes. Against ads run by President Trump's re-election campaign for breaching its policies on hate. The ads, which attacked what the Trump campaign described as dangerous mobs of far-left groups, featured an upside-down triangle. The Anti-Defamation League said Thursday the triangle, quote, is practically identical to that used by the Nazi regime to classify political prisoners in concentration camps.
Fun.
We always got made fun of for pointing out all the triangles. Now who's the one acting all crazy with triangles? Quote, we remove these posts and ads for violating our policy against organized hate. Our policy prohibits using a banned hate group's symbol to identify political prisoners without the context that condemns or discusses the symbol, Andy Stone, a Facebook spokesperson, told CNN Business. The ads targeted the far-left group Antifa, calling on Trump supporters to back the president's call to designate the group a terrorist organization. Responding to criticism of the ad earlier Thursday, the Trump campaign claimed the red triangle was, quote, a symbol widely used by Antifa. The story is developing.
Ooh,
so there you go.
Developing story.
More. Remember, for the last few weeks, it seemed like Zuckerberg was kind of in with, kind of snuggling up to Trump and sort of making it seem like, oh, I'm neutral. We're neutral here.
Yeah, because he was, Trump was pulling all of his Facebook, his executive orders to take away the freedoms of these big corporations, the social medias.
So it's almost like these guys have to virtue signal to each other to make it seem, hey, we're still against
That's absolutely
Trump.
what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a proxy war move.
Yeah.
You sign you threaten my business, I threaten your election. It's a back and forth. It's a proxy war.
Yeah.
So that's not surprising. Of course, Trump wages all sorts of proxy wars.
He does.
But you gotta love it. When two powerful men just keep tearing each other down.
But it's just hilarious that it's just an upside down triangle. Symbols are really how you interpret them, and, they're referencing it. The thing is, they used it in a way that was like, "Hey, this is bad." Maybe, and I guess Facebook was trying to say, "Hey, you're going after a group of people that's trying to be anti-fascist and labeling them fascist or whatever." But
yeah.
Anyway, if anybody cares to look at the symbol there, I have it pulled up.
Okay.
It's literally a square with an upside down red triangle.
Classic move. All right, let's finish out our 4 horsemen of the Technocalypse segment. We're not going to leave you out, Elon.
The 4 horsemen of the Technocalypse. Anytime you see the 4 horsemen, it's something special.
This might be my favorite article of the day.
I know. This is from gritdaily.com. The article is titled, How to Have Digital Swag or Digital Moves Like Jagger. A Gen X relative recently said, this is, it's sort of written as an opinion piece here.
First-person opinion piece.
Yeah. A Gen X relative recently sent me an article on Elon Musk's Neuralink product. As we know, that's the brain-computer interface product that Elon has been working on for a while now, that allows the brain to control computers using just thoughts. He said the product had moves like Jagger. I responded with a distinctively unhip, and rushed to look up the meaning of moves like Jagger. Urban Dictionary wasn't much help. It said the term was another way of expressing something that had swag. Okay, next lookup. What's swag? For the more urban, linguistically challenged folks out there, swag means cool. Okay, got it. Back to the point. The Neuralink product would replace a small part of your skull with a chip about an inch in diameter, which would control electrodes placed on neurons in the brain. That would allow electrodes to stimulate neurons to mimic the function of the brain. This would be used initially to overcome brain injury and trauma-related problems. Longer term, though, there are a variety of possibilities, including downloading languages directly into the brain. This brain-computer interface certainly has the moves like Jagger. I don't know if they get to it in this, but Moves Like Jagger was a song that came out when I was in college and just stuck around. Well, Elon is certainly on a roll these days, isn't he? Between the amazing run of Tesla, the recent successful launch of SpaceX's Crew Dragon spacecraft carrying NASA astronauts, and a handful of other equally mind-blowing ventures on the side, not to mention a brand new baby boy. What's his name? Ash Archangel. Yep. Elon's unpredictable star is suddenly once again on the rise, which brings me to my main topic. What would it take for us to have digital swag? Could we develop a few Musk-like skills so we have at least a few minor moves like Jagger? Okay, this is starting to annoy me, the use of this, but here we go. But should we have Elon-like moves? Elon is my #1 admired person for disruptive innovation, but to be honest, even if I could innovate like him, I can't. I'm not sure that I would. Elon is one of the best examples in the world of a trailblazer in every sense of the word. His brand of innovation is to conjure something into existence from the dark void of oblivion. That's pretty occultic there, Elon.
Seriously. Good stuff, Elon.
You need help with your alchemy or your philosopher's stone? Or, as Peter Thiel, not on my list of heroes, calls it going 0 to 1. This is sexy, but extremely difficult to do. The other types of disruptive innovation is 1 to N, taking something that works and making it great, i.e. think creating iPod from MP3 players. This is the financially safer approach. You can still create disruptive products with this approach, but with more predictability. There's a good reason why there's only one Elon Musk. We're definitely going to get kicked off of Twitch. Of course, Elon Musk recently stating that Amazon needs to be broken up for monopoly reasons. So little proxy punch there coming from Elon towards Jeff Bezos. And now we're just reading this glowing review of Elon Musk from, who is this? Tony Saldana. Okay, yes. Moving on. Desirable digital swag we can pick up from Elon. Maybe we need, Gons, I think we need to give you some digital swag.
I'm okay.
But fear not, Elon has plenty of other swag that we can pick up. Here are the 3 things that I try to follow. Manage by rhyming. Elon says his style is. Oh my gosh. Elon says his style is management by rhyming. He is reported to have said at a recent SpaceX event, quote, "If the schedule is long, it's wrong. If it's tight, it's right." Digital. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. The digital world and the resulting fourth industrial revolution moves at a different pace than the world of the third industrial revolution. We were trained that between better, faster, and cheaper, we could at least choose two. Not true any longer. I believe that most often, if you push for faster, you also get better and cheaper as side benefits. Sleep on the factory floor? Elon is famously hands-on. When Tesla failed to meet its output for Model X SUVs, Elon moved onto the factory for 2 weeks. He slept in a sleeping bag. He spent entire days triaging cars at the end of the line, trying to identify the root cause issues. Eventually, he succeeded. This work ethic, and persistence is critical during digital times.
I can just picture, before you go on, I can picture Elon walking around. Who knew he was a SoundCloud rapper at work? That was his method to really get things
He's
done.
He's going to show up with a face tattoo. It would not surprise me a single bit if Elon showed up one day with a face tattoo.
No, not at all.
Okay, we're almost done here. War on bureaucracy. Elon is not a fan of meetings, hierarchy, or any system that interferes with immediate communication. Some of his, quote, rules include avoiding large format meetings unless essential, preferring infrequent meetings unless there's a crisis, feeling free to leave meetings where you're not essential, avoiding jargon, contacting people directly without getting caught up in hierarchy, and my favorite, don't follow silly rules. Not surprisingly, these are principles consistently found in most digitally native companies. The digital era can be unforgiving of old world practices that stifle innovation. Fortunately, there's more than one way to innovate. Elon is unique in his ability to create something from nothing. However, in all the noise of his exciting product creations, we shouldn't lose sight of the basic disciplines that enable those disruptive products to see the light of day. And that's swag we can all develop. So there you go. This person is a big fan of Elon, loves how he rhymes. I like that. Those are the two biggest things that this guy pulled from Elon was rhyme a lot and don't go to meetings.
How to have swag like Jagger, like Elon? Just rhyme.
Rhyme a lot and don't go to meetings.
Don't have meetings. Good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, there we go, Gons. I think we're pretty good. We're getting pretty close to that Elon swag. We're really bad at bureaucracy, and
we are really bad at bureaucracy.
I don't know. We could update our rhyming. We just have to start. You started your SoundCloud rap career.
I did.
All you got to do is pick it back up. You can be just like Elon.
Yeah, I just wasn't willing to take that next step with the face tattoo. That's where I drew the line.
Gotta get the face tattoo.
Yeah, I just wasn't really up for that. But otherwise, maybe I can. Gone are the days when you can just have gold teeth or something. It's all about the face tattoos now.
Well, you got to have your gold teeth too. You can't skip out on that, Gons.
Yeah.
There's still some remnants of the old world.
Okay, well, maybe I'll start
All right.
The four horsemen of the technocalypse. Anytime you see the four horsemen, it's something special.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
That's right. Time to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, because after the break, we're going to be talking. We got a whole segment on some financial stuff going on, some currency. And trust me, it's not cryptocurrency this time. You're going to want to stick around, because this is going to have a big effect on local economies all over the United States and elsewhere. Let's see. Money. Yeah, we got a bunch of money stuff. So you're going to want to stick around. Ooh, the eBay guys stocking their people on eBay. Okay, good. There's a lot of really funky stuff after this break, so
and
stick
a Nephilim
around.
update.
And a Nephilim update. That's right. Don't forget that. Now, before we get into this, I do want to reply to something I saw earlier in the chat. Look, YouTube people, thank you so much for tuning in. But I'm looking at the chat in YouTube and the chat in Twitch, markedly different. YouTube people on YouTube have a bad attitude, and one of them is, they asked why why do you even bother to stream to YouTube if you want everybody to watch on Twitch? And I mean, the fact of the matter is that still, even after all of our pleading and asking for people to go to Twitch, even after YouTube betrayed us, demonetized your YouTube channel, consistently taking off your videos, cutting our stream midstream, all the things that YouTube has done to us, we still have more people watching on YouTube than Twitch by like 4 or 5-fold, something like that. Or maybe less, 3-fold maybe. So, most of our viewers are over on YouTube, and that's unfortunate. We've tried to tell you to get over to Twitch. It's really any day now, where it's not by our own choice are we going to disappear off of YouTube. But that's why we still stream on YouTube, because people have not made the switch to Twitch. But, who knows? Maybe one of these days when they finally stop letting us stream on YouTube, then you'll have no choice. We'll probably I don't think many YouTube people will watch on Twitch if we get kicked off. So we're just trying to get the word out there for as much as we can.
And eventually we'll try to figure out a way to just stream from our own website. And
yeah, we gotta get off all of these.
Yeah, that's
services
the real
is the problem.
Yeah,
the real thing is we
independent
gotta
way.
completely get off the services. And if you want to keep making Susan Wojcicki rich, that's your prerogative. I guess it's either Susan or Jeff. You get to choose.
You get to choose. Good Servant on YouTube says, I want to super chat. Thank you for that, but you can't because YouTube completely demonetized the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. So
yeah, that's
no
the
super
point.
chats.
You can't super chat anymore because they demonetized.
Yeah.
But if you want to help us out, you can learn about that here in just a few seconds. We're going to get on with this break so we can get back to the stories.
Yes.
So real quick, Gons, you got your dinger dinged for the small list of Twitch followers who followed us during the show.
Fantastic. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to ding there.
That's okay. Here we go. We got Awoke Within.
Ooh, from within.
We got World According to Scooter Lee.
Oh, I like that.
We got Marimore the Red.
Ooh, is that Marimore?
The Way, the Truth, the Light.
The Life? But the light is good.
Light. Global Watchman News. I saw you. Global Watchman News made the switch from YouTube. Thank you very much.
Very cool.
Snake Charmed.
Ooh, doesn't sound too good.
Yep. Uncle G the Man won.
All right, Uncle G.
Uncle G. Gabe Loves Rach. Ooh, sounds like we got a couple. A couple made the switch.
Get one of those aura rings to track each other's heartbeats.
Yes, that's right. Oh, this one's a great, Gons. We got the Riot Control Bees in the house.
Yes. And
Riot
we actually,
Control Bees.
Somebody sent us a pretty in-depth thing about that. I don't have it pulled up here, but I've been meaning to address it. Do you know what I'm talking about, Basil?
No, I
we
missed
got an email from a listener, a producer.
About Riot Control Bees?
About something about bees that were, it was like something about the honeybee population decline.
I saw that. I saw it right before the show. I didn't have a chance to take a look at it, but
yeah, we'll get to it at some point. Yeah.
Got a bee update from a producer.
Yes.
We got King William Arthur.
All right.
We got Zidadu 22, XID Adu 22. And then that's it. Those are all our new Twitch followers. Thank you very much for following us and watching on Twitch. Really means a lot to us. We appreciate that.
Thank you, everybody.
And
we only have a few supporters, new supporters to thank, producers, if you will.
Yes.
To thank on PayPal and Patreon.
Yeah.
On PayPal, we have...
Well, real quick, let me explain to everybody.
Okay.
Well, no, I'll explain it after. You're right. Now, the one thing to mention is that we are value for value model. We don't believe in gaining your trust and your viewership, your eyes, your ears, turning around and selling that for a profit for our own personal gain.
Yep.
Instead, if you support the show on one of the many ways to do that, this is how it works and things like this. People who pay for the show, you are a producer of the show. You're not our product. You're our producer. So up next, we're going to read a list of the brand new producers since Wednesday.
Yes, and on PayPal we have somebody coming in. Brian, thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. Coming in on PayPal.
And on the Canary Cry Radio Patreon, that's patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. We had one producer come in, Delilah. Thank you, Delilah.
Delilah. Hey there, Delilah.
And I think we had one, I haven't updated or checked out the update, but we also got an upgrade from Cynthia. So thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you, Cynthia. I believe that's Sin Kitty, if I remember. Oh no, this is a different Cynthia. Well, thank you, different Cynthia.
All right.
I think. I don't know. I could be wrong, but whoever you are, Cynthia, thank you so much. Thank you, Cynthia, Delilah, and Brian, the brand new producers of Canary Cry News Talk. You guys are the best. And yeah, like I said, we used to talk a lot about just donations, donating to the show, help the show keep going, donating. And to a degree, it still is that way. But I don't think that gives the people it's just not right. You're just donating like it's a charity case. And of course, Gons, you and I are charity cases. Everybody knows that. But the fact of the matter is
we're not 501c3 though, just to
we
make
put
that
out
clear.
7 to 8 hours worth of material every single week. I mean, that's very prolific. That's more than 99.9% of shows. And when I say shows, I mean podcasts. We are originally a podcast. Make sure to follow us on. Yes, the streaming thing is new to us, but there you go. You're not you're not giving to charity. You are helping to produce the show, and that's why we call you producers. So if you want to become a producer of the show, we would appreciate that very much. We can use as many producers as possible. You can head to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. Or, if you don't like Patreon, a lot of people don't like Patreon. That's okay. You can go to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
And if you listen to last episode, you know that we have started a very exciting program. We ripped it pretty much word for word from the No Agenda show. Don't worry, we're in contact with them. We have their permission. And this is a great way to recognize long-term and high throughput producers. Now, for those who don't know, we've been doing this show we are in our 9th year of podcasting. So that's pretty fun. I'm just going to keep saying that until we get to 10 years. I can't wait to get there. It's going to be an existential crisis. But we have had supporters, stick around for many, many years. And because of that, we wanted to instigate a way to recognize producers who have supported the show, specifically in the amount of $1,000 or more. And that is through the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, Gonzo. And
yes.
We damed our first dame, the very first seat at the round table last episode. And that was Dame Island Girl Lynn. Thank you very much, Dame Island Girl Lynn. And today, Gons, I'm very excited to announce we're here tonight. We got another knight, the second seat at the round table.
Ooh, who is it?
I know, well, here we go. We are going to be knighting Sir Greg. Greg has supported the show for many, many years, and we went through the accounting, and he has met or exceeded $1,000 of support. So we appreciate that, Greg. And what do you think? Should we just knight him? Should we do it the old-fashioned way? Get out. Here's my sword. Hold on. Let me pull this out. There we go. You got one?
Well, again, as a Japanese American, I don't do swords. I do katanas.
Katana. Yes, that's very good. Okie dokie. Sir Greg, step on up to the round table for our second ever knighting. We want to call it Sir Greg. Please step forward to the Canary Cry round table where we have a seat for you. Thanks to your generous support in the amount of $1,000 or more, we are proud to announce you, Knight. You shall now be known as Sir Greg of the 5 Smooth Stones, Knight of Resilient Truth. At the Canary Cry Roundtable, where we have the belt of truthful truthiness, breastplate of righteous righteousness, custom-fit Birkenstocks to carry forth the gospel of peace, the shield of ferocious faith, the helmet of substantiating salvation, the supernatural sword of the Spirit, and, of course, adorable samurai babies, infinitely cute kittens for cuddling, and if you're hungry, we have fancy wet food, and, of course, ride unicorns. Welcome to the Canary Cry Knights and Dames Round Table, Sir Greg, 5 Smooth Stones Knight of Resilient Truth. Thank you so much. Everybody out there should thank Sir Greg of the 5 Smooth Stones for supporting the show for so very long. We are so grateful for your support. Big producer of the show. And we got a note from Greg here. He says the 5 smooth stones are from 1 Samuel 17:40 for Goliath, and then parenthetical Google, aka Alphabet, and the other 4 giants that were slain after him in 2 Samuel 21:15 through 22. I see those 5 giants that need slaying as Google, Alphabet, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft. I like it because David was expecting the other 4 giants to show up after he slayed Goliath. Thus, the 5 smooth stones. Of course, he could not do it alone. He needed his brothers' help to finish the other giants' unity in Christ. Thank you very much, Sir Greg, and welcome to the round table. There we go. We've got 2. We've got a knight and a dame. Amen. Oh, very fun. So there you go. And I want to remind everybody, we do have some producers who have supported us a very long time. And if you think that you have reached, if you have met or exceeded $1,000 of support over the years, please send us an email with the accounting. Our PayPal records only go back a couple of years. So send us the accounting. We'll get you at the round table. Very cool to have such long-term and generous supporters, producers of the show. Very important. We couldn't do it without these people.
Yes. And I do want to mention that one other way you can support the show and become a producer is by sending us jingles. People have sent us some jingles. And the other way to do it, which is kind of fun, is through artwork. Yes. And we actually have a couple pieces of art here. One of them I had ready, and I'm trying to find who sent it because I am not finding the person who sent it to us. Do you know who it was, Basil? It was the...
Talking about the big one?
The big one, the cartoon one. I'm going to put it up on the screen here. And we are officially, we've made it, Basil. We're cartoon characters.
I know. I was so excited when this came in.
I know. It's so awesome. So there's a cartoon cover, Canary Cry Saga, bringing logic to insanity. Stop this madness before it's too late. And they drew me in I guess I'm a lifeguard. I have a tight red shirt with my bulging shoulders and very defined pectoral muscles.
You're living your best life.
Oh,
in this art,
this is bringing me back to my days as a competitive swimmer. I was nice and trim back then, and
you're looking good.
Yeah, looking good. I got the cross over my heart there. And Basil, I gotta say, your look is a little more creepish.
I've got some Jim Carrey vibes. Or some
like the Tick or something.
Pet detect. Oh, the Tick. Yes, some major the Tick vibes. Well, he had to do the best he could without being able to see my jawline, and I gotta say, I'm flattered.
Godspeed.
My Hawaiian shirt there in protest of being called a racist. I'm not affiliated with the Boogaloo movement. I just like Hawaiian shirts, and this is fun. I really like this.
Yes,
bringing logic to insanity. Canary Cry Saga. This makes me wonder. What if we did our own comic book? That would be funny.
Oh gosh, that's a whole thing.
I love it. Great job.
And actually, we have one more.
This was from. The name on the email is Godspeed.
Right. Yes.
So yeah, I don't know if we have a real name, but thank you, Godspeed, so much for this. This really made my day having this come in. Awesome.
We also had a hand-drawn image from Christine. Which,
Nephilim, sorry, real quick. Nephilim update in the chat says, "You guys look ripped. Are you drinking Nephilim milk?"
Ooh, we should. Maybe that's what I need to get a little more back into shape there. But this was a hand-drawn image of a canary with the googly eyes.
I love it.
Sent in by Christine.
This one too.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you
guys
so
are
much,
awesome
Christine.
producers of the show, contributing with your artistic talents.
I know we had some complainers about the googly eyes again. Somebody, I don't know who it was, and it doesn't matter, said if I lost the googly eyes, then more people would watch on Twitch. I don't know how that logic works out, but I'm not falling for it. The googly eyes, they become a symbol of freedom, a symbol of resistance. I'm telling you, the googly eyes are gonna become like the V for Vendetta mask, the Guy Fawkes mask. You watch. They're gonna start showing up in Times Square.
They're going to replace all these historical statues they're tearing down with a statue of Basil.
That's what they should do. Put the giant googly eyes on the statues.
Yeah, so you don't have to tear them down, right? You just
I'm just going to say it right now. If people start sending me images, you can send it to canarycryradio@gmail.com. Start putting googly eyes on things that you want to protest. That'll be it.
There you go.
We got to start the nationwide movement of putting googly eyes to protest things. I think that would cut down on the violence, cut down on the vandalism, and really get the message across, I think, to the elites and
I hope the message gets across. I don't know. It might get lost on most of the normies.
The Guy Fawkes mask did a great job. I think the googly eyes are next.
Okay.
Okay, what else we got here? I've completely gotten lost in tabs. Let me reorganize myself.
Yeah,
okay, what else? Are we good for this break? Did we break good?
I think we broke good. Somebody was saying in the chat, I don't remember, it was pretty far back in the chat there, but they were saying that they don't get it since we just did a story about how Amazon and getting the rich get richer. Why do we want to move over to Twitch? Doesn't the rich get richer still if we move over to Twitch? And that's why we were kind of saying that, we need to eventually get on our own website and our own servers and stuff. But that's a little more technical. And,
let me say this.
Sure.
I didn't give the whole spiel this time. So, I just don't want to bug people by saying it over and over, but I forget that every show is somebody's first show. So the reason we want people to go to Twitch. Oh, and there's another announcement. Okay. So the reason that we push for Twitch so much is for a couple of reasons. One reason is they're continually harassing us over on YouTube, shutting down the stream, demonetizing the channel, and taking down Gonza's videos, which is just not cool. So it's a point of protest. We want to move away from there. The other one is there are some goals, some viewership goals that if we hit them on Twitch, it actually unlocks a lot of cool tools for you and I to support ourselves without directly asking for donations, but because there's a lot of people who will never become producers, and that's fine. We put out the show, getting the truth out there is worth it enough. But Twitch has a lot of really cool tools for streaming that will allow some control for producers and audience members to control certain things that happen on the show, stuff like that. Some really cool tools, and also some stuff that will help you and I support ourselves without being so dependent on producers. But maybe that's not what we're supposed to do. I don't know. Who knows? Apparently, it's very hard. I will say right now, if everybody, I'm looking at the numbers now, if everybody who is on YouTube went and watched on Twitch right now, we would hit our goals in one day, in one broadcast. But the chances of that are quite slim. But that's why we always talk about Twitch. We're mad at YouTube, and Twitch has a bunch of stuff that helps Gonz and I feed our kids and our kitties, and helps us support ourselves during this time, because we are only essential employees of this show and nothing else.
Yeah.
Also, Gonz, I mentioned it to you right before the show, and this might be fun, and so I want some feedback from listeners. I'll be watching the chat as I explain this. But because Twitch is owned by Amazon, Amazon is making available watch parties for Amazon Prime shows. So we can actually broadcast an Amazon Prime show on our Twitch channel. Now there's some details I got to figure out here, but the idea is that we could broadcast Amazon Prime channel shows on our channels and do like a watch party. Now, why would we want to do that? Well, if you listen to the show long enough, I've come to the show so many times, keeping an eye on the media and Hollywood, and now, of course, streaming television, about the sort of programming that comes out that pushes agendas that we talk about on the show a lot, especially technocracy agendas. One of them being upload, which is an idea that we were talking about back in 2012, but now there's a show about uploading your consciousness, using uploaded consciousness as an afterlife replacement, and bringing people back from that. And of course, we've been talking about uploading consciousnesses for almost 10 years now. And so to see a show come out that is basically ripped from Canary Cry Radio episodes, it would be a cool opportunity to do a watch party with you and I watching this show upload and talking about it and identifying the programming notes, and how this is being used to legitimize consciousness uploading, which of course has all sorts of problems when it comes to the afterlife and heaven and salvation and things like that. And this is what's getting put out there, and it's important to be able to identify it and talk about it. And that would be a cool thing to do on Twitch, I think. Shows that come to my mind off the top of my head are Upload, which is about uploading consciousnesses, The Feed, which is about the Mercer box that we talked about, the empathy box from Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and what that means for a global religion, a global consciousness, and the new age aspects of the technocratic future that we talk a lot about on the show. So The Feed would be cool to watch, as well as a bunch of other stuff. So I think that's pretty cool. So keep an eye out. I'm going to be looking into what it takes to do that. I can't guarantee it yet. It's a new feature that they're rolling out, so we'll see what we can do. But I think that would be really cool and really helpful for the listeners of the show, because we've been talking about it like crazy people for 9 years now. But now we can actually show how the programming is being presented to the people and how that's going to affect the near future when we fall into the technocracy. Yeah. Anyways.
And somebody also, I like the idea. It's kind of like a mystery science theater type of situation.
Oh, that's exactly right. We've been compared, especially with the googly eyes, been compared to mystery science theater.
And
I like it.
Somebody in the chat also mentioned theta.tv. And actually, we tried to get a streaming key, and what we received was nothing. And they said... Basically, you're supposed to get on social media and have a hashtag stream keys, please, and all this kind of stuff. Nothing yet, but yeah, sure. We were trying to get on theta.tv as well, because it's the next thing, Do you know about Theta, Basil?
I only know from what you told me.
Okay. I think they're going to...
But there you go. Every new platform that comes out is trying to do it better. And so we are open to doing it better. Of course, if there's any IT professionals out there who would be able to help us set up our own live stream on our own website without having to rely on microservices, I would really love to hear from you. There's a lot of people out there, and we'll get even more listeners, listens after the podcast is broadcasted. And if you're an IT person, a tech person, web design person, coder, and you'd be able to help us do that, we would love to have a backup that is not reliant on billionaire services. Yes. So you can email us at canarycryradio@gmail.com.
All right, let's get into it. The last segment of the show here.
Last segment. Let's get back to it.
$100 billion.
I don't have any money.
TheHustle.co. You want to do this one?
TheHustle.co. Yeah, I kind of want to do this one.
All right.
This is the hustle.co, and the article is titled "Why a Small Town in Washington is Printing Its Own Currency During the Pandemic." Oh gosh, show burps coming back. Here we go. Okay, get yourself together.
Come on, man.
The article reads, Wayne Fournier was sitting in a town meeting when he had his big idea. As the mayor of Tenino, Washington, population 1,884, he'd watched the pandemic rake local businesses. Residents couldn't afford groceries. Long lines snaked outside the local food bank. For more than a month, the downtown area looked almost abandoned. To bring back the economy, Fournier needed to act. Quote, "We were talking about grants for businesses, microloans, trying to team up with a bunch of different banks," he tells The Hustle. "The big concern was, how do we directly help families and individuals?" And then it hit him. Why not start our own currency?
Eureka!
Eureka! The plan came together fast. Fournier decided that Tenino would set aside $10,000 to give out to low-income residents hurt by the pandemic. But instead of using federal dollars, he'd print the money on thin sheets of wood designed exclusively for use in Tenino. His mint, a 130-year-old newspaper printer from a local museum. That is so cool. I love that. Yeah. Fournier's central idea is pulled straight from Tenino's own history. During the Great Depression, the city printed sets of wooden dollars using that exact same 1890 newspaper printer. Within a year, the wooden currency had helped bring the economy back from the dead. By reinstating the old currency now, Fournier has accidentally become part of a much bigger movement. With businesses worried about keeping the lights on and people scrambling to find spending money, communities have struggled to keep their local economies afloat. So they've revived an old strategy. When in doubt, print your own money. There we go. It seems like a good idea for all of us. Today, these so-called local currencies might help small communities recover from the economic fallout of COVID-19. Fournier isn't your cookie-cutter politician, a firefighter since the age of 18. He first gained local notoriety for a series of Banksy-style guerrilla art projects that took a jab at local leaders. Soon after he revealed himself, he won a spot on the city council. 4 years later, in 2016, he became Tenino's mayor. To hear Fournier tell it, until COVID-19, the community had been on the upswing. Fournier was working on plans to create 150 new agricultural jobs, but Tenino's businesses, which are locally owned and run on small margins, weren't built to weather a lockdown. Quote, "There's a lot of them that have already said they're not going to reopen," says Fournier, "and the ones that have been hanging on are going to need a boost. The city is also poorer than the rest of Washington state." Quote, "We have a higher rate of kids in our school district that receive free and reduced lunch," says Fournier. "There's a higher rate of folks who are in poverty." Fournier's local currency program works like this. Residents below the poverty line can apply to receive money from the $10,000 fund that Tenino has set aside. Fournier says they also have to prove that the pandemic has impacted them, but we're pretty open to what that means. Once they're approved, they can pick up their stipends printed in wooden notes worth $25 each. The city is capping the amount each resident can accrue at 12 wooden notes, or $300 a month. According to Fournier, each note features a Latin inscription that means basically, "We've got this handled." The spending comes from, I like that. We're fine. We're going to be fine. Here, take this wooden money. The spending comes with a few restrictions. Residents can't use the money to buy cigarettes, lottery tickets, or alcohol. The currency is designed for the essentials, including food, gas, and daycare. Almost every business in town accepts the wooden notes, and twice a month, they can submit redemption requests to the city to turn the notes into cash. But why print money on wood? Why not just give residents $300 worth of federal dollars? The answer is simple. By creating its own local currency, Tenino keeps the money in the community. As Fournier puts it, Amazon will not be accepting wooden dollars. Quote, "The money stays in the city. It doesn't go out to Walmart and Costco and all those places," says Joyce Worrell. who has run the antique shop Ironworks Boutiques for the past decade. Worrell sells clothes, jewelry, and, in an outdoor garden that adjoins her shop, an assortment of furniture. These days, she's added masks and disinfectants. Closing down businesses these last few months, Worrell says, was a catastrophe for a lot of us, but she has rallied around the wooden currency as a way to revitalize the local economy. After all, it worked for the city once before. The currency hasn't woven its way into her store yet, but she's expecting it soon. Quote, a lot of people in our city work for places that hire low-wage help, part-time help, so they've been out of work this whole time, Worrell says. This shows that we're doing something as a community to really step in and help. In Tenino, wooden currency goes way back. Originally home to the Nisqually tribe, outside settlers first arrived in Tenino in 1851 when a gold rusher from Maine established a farm alongside the nearby Scatter Creek. In 1872, the Northern Pacific Railroad added a new station in Tenino, and for a time, the city was the northernmost stop on the West Coast. By the mid-1900s, the world knew Tenino for three things: its lumber business, its quarries, and its wooden currency. The legend of the wooden currency started in December 1931 when Tenino's only bank closed shop. The Great Depression was ripping through the country and countless townspeople lost their savings. Most had to stretch the little money they had to pay for groceries, rent, and other essentials. A local newspaper publisher named Don Mahor pitched a solution. With the bank gone, Tenino could invent its own currency. The officials agreed, and Mayer printed a series of notes, 25 cents, $1, $5, and $10, on rolled Sitka spruce. He and two local doctors agreed to back all of the currency themselves. By January 1933, the town had printed $6,500 worth of wooden money. Tenino wasn't alone in this experiment. During the Great Depression, local currency saw a golden age. Hundreds of municipalities, business associations, and worker co-ops started issuing scrips. One estimate suggested as much as $1 billion worth of scrips circulated in the U.S. in the 1930s. Cash-strapped businesses soon... I'm going to skip down a little bit because we kind of get the idea. Long story
money
short,
does grow on trees.
Yes, money does grow on trees was the newspaper headline that swept the country there. They kind of they go into a lot. Well, let's try this. Can local currencies really save the economy? Take a look around the globe and you'll find local currencies everywhere. Amid the economic fallout from COVID-19, small town leaders have struck on the same idea as Fournier. The town of Castellino del Biferno, Italy, population 550, started printing a local paper currency nicknamed the Ducati in late April to stimulate commerce. Mexico's Santa Maria Jajalpa sent out about $2,000 worth of local currency called Jajal pesos to help poor residents buy vegetables, chicken, and tortillas. The Brazilian city of Maricha is making extra money off a digital local currency known as the Mumbuca. The Mumbucas are so omnipresent, even city officials receive their salaries in Mumbucas. That businesses pay the local government a 2% fee to accept them. That money is funneled into no-interest loans that are offered out to members of the community. In the U.S., the local currency movement is more fractured. Plenty of currencies like the Ithaca Hours or Bay Bucks made a splash for a decade or so before petering out. One of the most successful ongoing experiments is called Berkshires, a paper currency founded in 2006 through the nonprofit Schumacher Center for New Economics. Over 400 businesses in Great Barrington, Massachusetts accept Berkshires, and the money is backed through a network of community banks. The article goes on for quite a while, but I think that's it. I think we kind of get the whole idea here, Gons. Unless there was something in there that you highlighted that you want to talk about.
Well, there's a good and a bad aspect to this. The good, obviously, is the support of the local communities and keeping it. Think of like an arcade, right? You can only use certain coins at the arcade, so you sort of limit the use of a certain type of currency. The negative aspect of it is you can only use the currency in certain locations.
Yeah,
right?
but
So it's
the
the double
point
edge.
is that. But the point is that is positive anyways.
Right.
First of all, let me say that the United States has a long history of local currencies.
Right.
You know, even back at the inception, well, maybe not the inception, but in the 1800s, you know, there's a period there where every state had their own currency.
Right.
There was a federal currency, but the states, you know, had their own currency. So there was hundreds of different currencies in the United States for quite a while before, you know, the Fed came in and didn't like that very much. But I almost see this exclusively as a good thing, and let me tell you why. First of all, it's all community based, and you know, with the idea that most, if not all, at least of the important local businesses will accept this. You're keeping the money out of Costco. You're keeping the money out of Walmart. You're keeping your money out of billionaires' pockets, which we've just spent, you know, tons of this show talking about how screwed up it is that billionaires have become ultra billionaires because of the pandemic, while, you know, half the country is struggling more than anybody should. And so, you know, keeping the money in the community is a huge benefit. I also love the fact that they're not, you know, giving more money to billionaires. I'm a huge fan of that. I'm a huge fan of the fact that they're not relying on the federal government to, you know, exchange goods and services in their own community. I'm always down for, you know, getting as little federal government involved as possible. And yeah, I mean, of course, I'm not saying there's no downsides. I'm sure there is. But, you know, this is another example of American communities, you know, turning their backs on a federal government that has turned their backs on them. Right. You know, we're constantly being betrayed by the federal government, and it's about time that, you know, especially in communities that don't get the attention that they deserve just as an American town, you know, the federal government's supposed to be taking, you know, if not taking care of people, at least facilitating, you know, a prosperous economy. And if they're not, who cares about them?
Right.
You know, make your own prosperous economy.
I'm mostly in agreement with you. I honestly think that this is really a better way to obviously garner, again, like you said, building local businesses and keeping things within your community. I think the issues start popping up when you have the trade-off on the margins. I think if the government can easily step in and say, okay, if you're trading into those currencies, like let's say you travel to a different state and you got to change your money from one kind of currency to another to use it in that location, it's gonna, you know,
that's the whole point, is to not bring the money into another community. It's to keep it in yours.
I know.
Now I see some people in the chat talking about, I'll say Six String Commando says this local currency thing is like a precursor to a one world currency. It's like Flippy is the Skynet, which is funny. I have to totally disagree, though, Six String Commando. Nothing personal. I just disagree. I think this is opposite of moving towards a one world currency. Right. And more than anything, I like that it's on wood. You know, there's a lot of opportunities to, you know, the digital currency thing, you know, creating an ERC Ethereum token is easy enough for anybody to do. But of course, especially when you're working with low income and people below the poverty line, you can't expect them to have a smartphone and a digital wallet and stuff in order to handle their money.
Right.
So
it's also it's also interesting.
Back to the garden, Gons.
I know.
Back to the garden.
I get it. The one thing that's interesting, though, is that as it's made and printed in the United States, there's also that same the same kind of logic being used here in terms of, hey, if you're of this wooden dollar or these wooden currencies is still denominated in dollars, isn't it? It's still
yeah, but I see that as more of a measurement issue. You know, if you were, you know, if you were inventing your own unit of measurement and you said, okay, I'm making a new unit of measurement. It's how big is a basil? Okay. And you go, okay, well that's
weights.
Why are you
weights
even,
are better.
Why are you even talking about in inches? Well, I'm just helping you understand how big the basil is. something like that. So I understand what you're saying. I just disagree, and that's okay.
It's okay. It's all in weights and measures.
There was I'm again just responding to some chat that I'm seeing. I could see some people are uncomfortable with it. Basically, just if you want to get down to it, it's no different than just writing a coupon for technically $25 worth of groceries.
Yeah, it still would. It's still like a fiat, in that sense. There's no actual tangible sort of value to this. It's still a fiat because it's decreed. It's decreed and it's agreed upon. So, it's good in the sense that it limits who can use it, and you can limit what communities get to use it and stuff like that. So I guess I'm in agreement with you on that part. I just think that, if it all goes to hell in a handbasket, a little piece of wooden thing is not necessarily, just like the U.S. paper dollar is not going to really get you anything. There's that footage of Venezuela. I don't know if you saw it, Basil. It was hitting social media the last few days, where I don't have it. I'm not going to pull it up right this second. But basically, it was what's the currency over in Venezuela? I forget what it's called. But basically, they were
about
dumping
the digital one, or
no, the paper money.
I think they're some sort of peso. I think
it's inflated so much that they were just dumping it off of the back of this truck, and the kids were just playing in it. It's kind of like,
oh yeah, well, Venezuela is a very special case.
I get it, but it's just one of those things where you got to remember that there's money it is kind of like magic. It really is, because you have this agreement upon all the people that use it. It's a medium of exchange, right?
Yeah, we did a whole Canary Cry Radio episode on it. Yeah. Everybody go to canarycryradio.com and find who was that we interviewed? I forget, but it was a money-based interview, and it was very important. But the fact of the matter is that this is not a currency to get rich on. It's not a currency for every individual. This is a currency to help out people who don't have help, who don't have jobs, who don't have the money, and I think who are just trying to survive.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic for a population of 1,800. That's perfect almost. The bigger you get, the other part is like, what if one guy hoards all of it? What happens then? I know they said they limited the issuance, but
I don't think it works like that.
I know, but what if one guy is just...
businesses need their dollars to pay the bank. So the way that it's set up is if you're below the poverty line, you go to the mayoral office or whatever, however they're doing it. You get your little stipend, you get your money, you go to the general store, you spend your 25 dollar or your wooden buck or whatever, and then that business can turn it back in to get dollars to pay for their bills. So it's only relegated for people who are below the poverty line to get help. That's the only thing that it's used for.
Makes sense. I like it. I like it. I think we should all just have our own currencies
these
for
local
our children.
Currencies, man. I like it. And if you haven't done yet, look into it. Look into the history of local currencies in the United States. Actually, I've got it pulled up right here on the wiki. Early American currency. And every state had their own currency. Towns would all have their own currencies. And this federal money that was getting pushed on them by the bigwigs in Washington was only used for very special things.
It's a good way to teach your kids, maybe too, if you have your own family currency. You got to eat dinner every day. Got to pay up. Got to do some work. Got to
There you go.
Instead of dollars, you give them money that only works within your household.
Yeah, you get chore bucks.
Chore bucks. There you go. That's a whole thing we can come up with, Basil.
Teach your kids economics.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Yep. All right. There you go.
$100 billion.
I don't have any money.
The alternative here is the warning sent out by CNBC.com. Powell, who's I think he's the chair. Is he the chair? Yes, chairman of the Federal Reserve, warns of significant uncertainty about the recovery and says small businesses are at risk.
Yeah, no kidding.
Didn't realize that, Mr. Jerome Powell. Thanks for letting us know. Federal Reserve Chairman warned Tuesday about significant uncertainty regarding the pace of the U.S. economic recovery and said small businesses and lower income and minority Americans are particularly at risk during the first day of his semi-annual testimony before Congress, Powell told the Senate Banking Committee that while some indicators have shown improvement, there's still a long way to go as the economy regains its footing from the coronavirus pandemic. Quote, the levels of output and employment remain far below their pre-pandemic levels, and significant uncertainty remains about the timing and strength of the recovery. We get it. It's not a good time for small businesses. And really, what's particularly frustrating about this is I think Mnuchin just recently announced that they're going to print another, I can't remember how much it was, $700 billion or something like that. And they claim that it was going to be for small businesses, but they wouldn't make public which businesses they're actually funneling that money to. And from what I understand, there's actually some people in Congress that were receiving that money firsthand. So, not good. Like, small family businesses that are related to people in Congress. Excuse me. But so not a good situation. And at the same time, I'm going to fly through this because we got another story here based on money.
$100 billion.
I don't have any money.
The reconstruction of the fourth industrial revolution has begun. This is Cointelegraph.com. Akon's Crypto City moves ahead, awarding $6 billion construction contract. $6 billion, Basil.
Yeah.
A U.S. engineering firm awarded singer and entrepreneur Akon with a $6 billion contract to build a crypto city in Senegal. And I actually reported on this back.
Senegal?
Yeah. It's Africa, man. It's Wakanda. I'm telling you, the Wakanda propaganda was real. I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
You mentioned this a few episodes ago.
And I mentioned it also in the video about the Microsoft 2020-06-06-06 patent video I made back in March. This is more of the model of I think what they're going to try to do with a Mark of the Beast-ish type of system based around a personality, an individual. United States engineering firm KE International awarded Senegal-American singer and entrepreneur Akon with a $6 billion contract to build a cryptocurrency city in Senegal. According to a June 4th announcement, KE International secured $4 billion from investors from the first two phases of Akon City's construction. Akon first announced plans to build the city in January. The firm has now confirmed the deal and added more details about the project. The first phase of Akon's development is expected to be completed at the end of 2023. By the end of this phase, the complex will include a mall, residences, hotels, and a police station, a school, a waste facility, a solar power plant, and a hospital campus. The second phase is expected to be completed in 2029, just in time for 2030, and is expected to deliver a complete city entirely running on the Acoin cryptocurrency. As Cointelegraph reported in mid-March, Acoin is a cryptocurrency designed for entrepreneurs in developing countries such as Africa. So there you go. The same idea, Basil, about having that local currency, but in a smart city. So there you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's very interesting how that's all going to turn out. We'll see.
Well,
now, of course, there's been plenty of companies and people talking about building a crypto city, so I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, here's the difference with this one, okay? There was a conference that I was checking out. I think it's called. I'm totally blanking on the name. It was happening yesterday and today, and Akon was one of the guys talking, and he basically admitted that the United Nations is 100% behind this project. And the United Nations, I think some of the verbiage they were using was that the United Nations is going to help rebuild Africa, which is the irony there, right? Didn't they help destroy Africa with all their programs? But now they're going to help rebuild Africa by usurping or going around Western democracies. So they're going to go ahead and do that without the help of the United States directly. And just going to rebuild Africa. That's why I think the Wakanda propaganda thing is real. And
sounds like China's involved in this too.
Well, the United Nations, China's definitely involved. And the
China
other part of it,
China has about 1 million people living and working in Africa. That's been one of their main economic targets over the past few years.
Yes, absolutely. And the average age, this is something I heard at the conference, the average age of the African right now is 19 years old.
Oh my gosh.
So I think they're really targeting Africa to rebuild and all this kind of stuff because the big economic boom is going to happen in Africa, which I've always stated that this is very prophetic in a sense, because if you look at Daniel, the prophecies in Daniel chapter 11, Africa's a powerhouse, that surrounds Israel and stuff. So, maybe this is heading more in that direction.
So in so much trouble and been exploited for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, the natural resources in Africa, I forget what the actual numbers are, but the natural resources in Africa pretty much across the board are something equal to some multiplication of the rest of the world combined.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got everything it needs to go full on Wakanda, but there's been a lot of shady dealings from other powers, including including America and China and everybody.
I really think the sort of civil war type of race war type of stuff that they've been brewing here in the United States also has to do with that. I think there's a part of it that's going to be sort of getting the people on board to really rebuild Africa. Which again, the irony is the Hegelian dialectic. Destroy the whole nation, strip it of all of its resources, and
rebuild.
Then come back in and help rebuild it. It's just the same pattern over and over.
It's interesting you bring that up. Really, aside from the show, just kind of in my general, research and knowledge gathering, I recently did kind of a deep dive on what is it called? Afrofuturism. Mm-hmm. Have you looked into this?
Not particularly that, no.
Yeah, so Afrofuturism was really a literary trend throughout the 20th century, and it was mostly African-American authors and filmmakers and musicians and things like that. They felt kind of left out from a lot of the sci-fi storytelling. There wasn't a lot of black people in, sci-fi books and stuff like that. So they started writing sci-fi all centered around Africans, sort of in the future, Africans in spaceships and Africans, doing all the same sci-fi stuff that, it was just by trend probably relegated to mostly white characters. And now Afrofuturism has kind of evolved into basically the Wakanda thing, leading to, Africa being going to be the first continent and people group to reach some sort of, super future.
Technological.
Technological utopia, stuff like that. And then there's, of course, a bunch of conspiracy theories around that about how specific, and hey, some conspiracy theories are true about how other world powers specifically, trying to take the riches out of Africa to not allow Africa to reach Wakanda status. So this is a very interesting sort of thread of literary history to look into for Afrofuturism, which has now become a pretty powerful idea behind Black Lives Matter and a lot of similar movements like that. And I imagine Akon is a big fan of Afrofuturism.
Yeah, I'm sure he's part of that, the initiation of all that movement happening for sure.
Wakanda forever, baby.
Forever. Okay. I'm running out of time here, so we're going to go
pretty
right
much
to
at the end of your time.
Yeah.
So that's good. You want to do a Nephilim update, or
do it real quick? Yep.
Nephilim update.
And this is I thought this was very interesting. Benzinga.com, author Nick Huntley's new book, CERN, Satan's Playground, is a heady blend of quantum physics and global conspiracy in a riveting thriller for science-savvy readers. And so Nick Huntley, I'll wait for the check, the marketing check in the in the mails.
Yeah, a lot of people owe you money.
Yeah. Nick Huntley, an electrical engineer with a lifelong fascination with science, Einstein, time travel, and everything that makes up the universe, has published his new book, CERN, Satan's Playground, a fact-based and illuminating account of modern astrophysics and a compelling revelation of the possible motivations behind the work of scientists at the European Organization of Nuclear Research, which is CERN. Could CERN, the creator of the birthplace of the World Wide Web, be involved and even be behind the most ultimate conspiracy in all of history with their science, symmetry, Satanism, paganism, and rituals? This book is designed as a brief introduction into how CERN is deeply and darkly connected to many world leaders, the Vatican, the Hollywood elite, the Deep State, the Illuminati, and the New World Order. The book takes the reader on a journey through what is easily one of the most secretive organizations of all time, and is an accessible and very carefully structured introduction into how it all started, how everything was created with the Big Bang almost 14 billion years ago, and CERN's burning desire to recreate those conditions through physics and by colliding particles together at almost the speed of light and attempting to be like God Almighty. They have created the largest machine in the world and even discovered the God particle, the glue that holds the entire universe together. Why would they build their nuclear research facility upon the burial grounds of Apollyon, the destroyer? Could CERN be responsible for releasing the devil from the bottomless pit, from his prison, hell, as written in the Bible in Revelation 9? CERN has long been accused of opening up black holes that could very well swallow the entire universe, and they even admitted to this Armageddon-like possibility on several occasions. And it just kind of keeps going here. But anyway, the book is it's a science fiction book, but man, sounds like science fact. Sounds like he's been reading some Tom Horn and watching some Face Like the Sun videos or something. And so there you go. CERN, Satan's Playground, is part of our Nephilim update.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update.
Okay, everybody, that's all we got for today's show. I do want to say happy Juneteenth to everybody. I meant to mention that at the top of the show. Juneteenth.
Is it really a happy thing to celebrate?
Juneteenth is a holiday celebrating the emancipation of those who had been enslaved in the United States.
Okay.
It was the day that the slaves were set free. So,
I gotta be honest, I had no idea what it was until recently.
Well, there you go. I learned you something, and all the rest of you as well. I know we have some Juneteenth celebrators who listen to the show, so there you go. So happy Juneteenth, and that's all we have for today. Remember, we are looking for more producers of the show. We do not subscribe to selling your attention to billionaires for our own personal gain. We believe that's what's wrong with the world today. So we need you to come on and help us produce the show. You can do that at patreon.com/CCNT. You can also do that at canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. And, on a heartfelt note, I do want to thank all of our producers for helping produce the show. We couldn't do it without you. And, it's kind of a slow week for bringing on new producers of the show. So we do earnestly ask that if you get any value out of the show, whether you've listened or watched one episode or 10 episodes or 100 or 200 now that we're over episode 200, if you get any value out of the show, please consider helping us out and returning some value and becoming a producer of the show. And the canarycryradio.com/support. There's PayPal options. There's recurring support as well as one-time donations if commitment's not your thing. So thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention that we also have canarycryradio.com/crypto, and somebody did send us some XRP recently.
Oh, yay.
So some Ripple XRP as a gift, a donation, just a small amount. So thank you for whoever sent that. It's anonymous. We don't know. We don't know who sent it.
There you go. So we've got anonymous producers. We appreciate that very much as well. And remember, you can help produce the show in a lot of ways. You can send us some art, some show-specific art. Just a little tip there. We got a lot of creative people who help out with the show. And if you create some sort of art, some visual art, send that over to canarycryradio@gmail.com, and we'll show it on the show, and it'll pop up on Facebook or in our newsletters, stuff like that, because we love sharing the art that our producers make. Remember, we're looking for some show-specific art. We get a lot of great stuff, but, we really can only use stuff that is specific to the show. So we appreciate that very much. And if you are a sound person, at the end of the show, we'll be playing our Canary Cry mixtape. And if you create some sort of song or jam based on the show, we'll put it on the Canary Cry mixtape at the end of the show. So stick around for that, as well as jingles. If you're a jingle creator, send us a jingle to canarycryradio@gmail.com. Remember to keep it short. Make sure there's no royalty music in there. No big name bands. And if there is, make sure it's 3 or 4 seconds, something like that. That would be great. And we'll play it on the show. We appreciate that so much. We're really lucky to have such a great, creative, and generous group of producers. We couldn't do it without you guys. Now, there's other ways to help the show. You can leave a rating and a review on iTunes or Spotify. We are now on Google Music. What is it called? Google Music?
Google Podcast.
Google Podcasts apparently is a place now. Leave a rating and a review there. We're brand new there. We need some ratings and reviews to help us out. So thank you guys very much. Another great way to support the show is to just tell a friend. Word of mouth is the best way to get the show around and spread the truth that we think so desperately needs to be spread. And y'all got friends and family who are still getting their news from the mainstream or their Facebook feed. And let me give you some advice. You want to walk right up to him, you want to grab him by the cage, and you just got to shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages.
Hey, stop that!
You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy.
Leave the bird alone!
Never! Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. And I want to thank Fact Checker Bot in the chat. Says, I don't have money, but I will scream at everyone on YouTube for the entire show if it helps. Don't know if it helps, but worth giving it a try. Thanks, Fact Checker Bot. And remember, we'll be giving shout outs to the rest of our new Twitch followers next show. Please consider watching the show on Twitch. It helps us out a whole bunch. It's the easiest way to help the show. And we want to stick it to YouTube. So that's a fun thing for everybody to partake in. Okay, everybody, remember, we'll be back next week on Monday, sometime between noon and 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you have notifications turned on so you can catch the next episode of Canary Cry News Talk. So make sure to tune in next time. But until then, all together now, think outside the cage. Yeah. Woo.
Burn it all.
Shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up.
Leave the bird alone!
I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
You are entering a dimension of sound. You carefully come in through the threshold with wonder, yet skepticism. You see the faint shape of an outline of a robot arm petting a cat. You faintly hear the haunting sounds of a man playing a tambourine. The sound augments into two men playing with a soundboard. You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Stay a while and listen. And now, where Nephilim news meets biblical views, you'll find broken memes and shattered dreams. Give it up for Basil and Gaz.
Don't let me go into the archives and find out what I told you. I tell you something. People call me everything under the sun, accuse me of lying and everything else. I try to give you a heads up. I warn you. And then months later, when I'm right, everybody forgets. I said this months ago. I tried to tell y'all. This is what was happening. I tried to tell you. Heads are gonna roll. I tried to tell you. It's chaos. It's a mess. I tried to tell you. And nobody wanted to listen. Do y'all hear me now? Is it clear? I tried to tell y'all it's getting ugly. It's a mess. I tried to tell y'all. Nobody wanted to listen. And now you see folks scurrying. I tried to tell you. You know how many times I'll say something months in advance, and then it comes to fruition, and then y'all forget I reported. See, they're going to have breaking news like it's news. You know what the news was today? I tried to tell you. But nobody wanted to listen.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on. Fat and sad.